morning to all of you. The great American philosopher John Dewey once said, education is not only preparation for life, but education is life itself, and it must go on. This philosophy truly emphasizes the importance of education in one's life, and that they are indeed interrelated, not separated. It is through education that you can change the face of the world. The knowledge that is attained through education helps open doors to a lot of opportunities for better prospects in career growth. This is based on a context that what is taught to students in the classroom should be connected to the challenges and experiences that the students go through in their daily lives. With this, I would like to start the orientation program organized by Amity School of Languages, Amity University, Uttar Pradesh, Lucknow. This program is organized for the final year students of batch 2019 to 2022. It is designed to introduce them about the academic activities of the session 2021 to 2022 and prepare them for another successful academic year with us. Now with this, we have a wonderful performance by our extremely talented Ashwathi Prakash, the student of second year, who is going to welcome all of us. So now let us see what she has to say.
Saraswati Namastubhyam Varade Kamarupini Vidyarambham Karishyami Siddhir Bhavatu Me Sada Siddhir Bhavatu Me Sada Siddhir Bhavatu Me Sada.
So thank you, Ashwathi. It was really an enthralling performance. Now I would like to welcome our distinguished director, Professor Dr. Kumkum Ray, to enlighten our students with the most motivational words. Dr. Ray is a constant source of guidance, inspiration, and motivation for all of us. For me, she is another name for success. I feel extremely delighted to say that, ma'am, you are indeed the architect of our institute, Amity School of Languages. Welcome, ma'am. Ma'am, please unmute yourself.
Thank you so much, Dr. Archana Gupta. This day, the 16th of July, 2021, is indeed a very special day for all of us. Could you please share the screen for the orientation, Archana? That's my request.
Sure, ma'am. I'm doing it again.
And why it's so special for me and for everybody on this platform, I'm sure, is that we have emerged after a stint of challenges, losses, and so many learning experiences. The pandemic, the corona, has changed our perspectives for times to come. And like any challenges, it has made us more prepared to face the future. Dear students, you have always been the backbone of our progress. Without you, we wouldn't be learners with you. And to me, the guiding principle of my teaching was learning with my students. The day I stop learning like my students and with my students, I would be not a teacher. That's my conviction. Dear students, you have been so very accommodating. You have been working so hard. Your faculty members have been working twice as hard to make these online classes, flipped classrooms, e-content development with a lot of rigor and robust. So I have to thank everyone, starting from God Almighty, who gave us the strength and reflected light on the path ahead. This batch is very dear to us, both BA English Honours, MA English, because when we fight together, when we struggle together, the bonds that are created are stronger than bonds shared in comfortable times. I must share with you some lines that I wrote for you about how 2021 was for us, both students of Amity School of Languages, faculty and staff of Amity School of Languages. Spiritual birth is through pangs of pain. Spiritual birth is through pangs of pain. Sorrow helps the extension of the soul. Growth and pain go hand in hand, just as joy and sorrows enhance each other, both essential in the journey to the sublime. Beneath every pain and pine, there runs a shining silver line. Beneath every pain and pine, there runs a shining silver line. So we went through a lot of losses, through a lot of pain, pining for what we had lost, pining to be with each other, yet we sustained it through. We showed our resilience and fought with all our mights, both physically and spiritually. And therefore, our soul emerged connecting with the sublime, realizing that what the sublime had given to us, we had recklessly exploited it. We got back to nature, realizing that it's not the mechanical progress that was needed, but our going back to nature. What was the use of this materialism if we could not breathe? What was the use of all the progress if we were fighting for oxygen to survive? We had devastated our environment without a thought. And this pandemic brought back the essential lessons that what God has bequeathed us in the form of nature, in the form of so many bounties, was far more meaningful than what progress has given to us. This pandemic was our own creation. And therefore, we have to reflect back and look at ourselves. We had to go back, introspect where we had gone wrong and where we had brought almost the civilization to a brink. Therefore, students, I applaud your courage your moral strength, and in the face of all these troubling times, you gave your best to both academics, to both learning without losing courage. With these words, I am awfully grateful to our chief guest for today, Mr. Maheshwari Prasad. I have known him through a span of almost 3 to 4 decades. And what I admire in this brilliant officer of batch 1984 of Indian Police Service was his resilience and never losing sight of ethics, principles, and morals. Apart from being a police officer, I was always struck by his basic instincts towards humanity, his reaching out to the common man, his sensitivity towards nature, his kind laughter in the face of all ordeals. And I'm so proud that you students have had this opportunity to hear him and interact with him. He's a man who has little time, but I must really salute his motivation and taking out his precious time for our students, faculty, staff, and all of our participants at the platform of the orientation or the Diksha Ram program of the old students on this momentous day. So without losing much time, I would hand over the mic, thank the Lord for having given us such precious people like my faculty, both senior and junior, and my lifeline, my students. Words fall short because to me, my divinity lies in my students. They are our future generation, and we will live on in their deeds. I only hope and pray that we have fulfilled our responsibility as being mentors, as being guides, as being teachers, as being one who has been holding hands. And I apologize if any student ever felt left out in this process of growth. And I still wish and hope that every student hands together, holds together in this academic growth, in this spiritual growth, without losing sight of basic ethics, of basic kindness, of being good human beings above all. With these words, thank you, dear students, for being with us, my staff and faculty members, and of course, my dear speaker for the day, Dr. A.P. Maheshwari. We are indeed delighted to have you with us on this platform, and we are eagerly awaiting to hear your sonorous voice. Thank you so much, Dr. Maheshwari, for joining us and sparing your precious and valuable time. Thank you.
I would like to thank our very honorable director, Professor Dr. Kumkum Ray, for giving such a wonderful presentation. It was yet another classy performance. Ma'am, you are our role model and an inspiration for all of us. You have motivated all of us to understand the importance of creativity in our life. Ma'am, you are always behind the success of our institution. Thank you. Now, the time has come for the most awaited moment of the session. So, I would like to welcome our highly esteemed chief guest, Dr. Anand Prakash Maheshwari, an IPS officer and internal security expert. He is formerly DGCRPF, SDG and advisor to Lieutenant Governor Pondicherry. He is a very dynamic leader with persuasive public speaking skills, performance-driven motivational speaker with a proven track record of success. Dr. Maheshwari is a very senior official with over 36 years of progressive and multifarious experience in homeland security, border management, research and policy, law and order, gender sensitization, to name a few. As an IPS officer, 1984 batch of UP cadre, he spent a sizable segment of his professional career both in UP and Government of India. He is affiliated to various reputed institutions that include London Business School, IIM Ahmedabad, IIPA New Delhi, and National Police Academy, Hyderabad. As a police professional, he has been leading his force successfully in the areas which range from counter-insurgency, homeland security, crisis management, correctional administration, and community policing to border management. Dr. Maheshwari has been honored with President's Police Medal for his distinguished services, Police Medal for Gallantry, Police Medal for Meritorious Service, Medal for Internal Security, Tough Area Service Medals, to name a few. He has made special contribution as a lead member in various committees and task force such as Committee on Social Media Monitoring, Crisis Management Group, Task Force on Countering Terror Funding, Committee on De-radicalization and Counter-radicalization in Correctional Homes, Counter IED Measures, Advisory Committee on Crime Victimization Survey, Committee on Speedy Investigations, National Task Force on Technologies in Policing, Steering Committee on Safe City Projects, Committee on Police Behavior and Attitudinal Change, Anti-Naxal Task Force, and Rehabilitation and Empowerment of Divyang Soldiers. He has made noteworthy participation in UNICEF-sponsored social service and wellness projects for the upliftment of street children in Ankur and Ehsas, Lucknow. His active engagement towards the cause of senior citizens and children in Arushi, New Delhi, Rahat Ghar orphans, and widows of militancy Kashmir is admirable. He has also contributed in the field of drug de-addiction and AIDS prevention. He has 8 books and 11 articles to his credit. Dr. Maheshwari is such a versatile personality that I fall short of words to speak about his achievements and his contribution in the society. We feel extremely honored to have you here, sir. Welcome, sir. Hello. Sir, are you here? Sir, I think your voice is not audible. Kaushal, sir, can you please check?
Riti, kindly check.
I think sir is speaking. He's speaking. He's unmuted.
But we cannot hear him, so send him a message, please.
Yes, yes, ma'am.
To start from the beginning.
Riti, I request you to please coordinate with sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Request him to start from the beginning. We don't want to miss out on anything.
Sir, am I audible to you?
Hello.
Yes, Kaushal sir. His voice was audible when we tried him once in the morning.
Please request him to speak from the beginning again, as we have not heard him.
Sure, ma'am. We are just trying hard to connect with him.
हेलो।
हाँ जी सर, आपकी आवाज आ रही है।
Now I'm audible, sir?
Yes, sir. You are very much
Yes.
audible, sir.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Welcome, sir. Welcome, sir.
Sir, you can switch on your camera also, sir.
Camera is switch on. Now?
No, no sir,
Not
your camera is not
No.
switched on,
Make
sir.
this-
Right, right.
this will be camera on. कैसे? No? Camera on.
Yes, you're visible now.
Now visible
Yes,
also?
sir. You are visible,
Yes.
sir. You are visible, sir.
And audible also, right?
Yes, sir. Yes,
Yes.
sir.
Okay. So good morning, everybody. I thank you all, especially Dr. Kumkum Ray and Dr. Archana, for nice words having been spoken about me. And I must tell you in the very beginning that I'm really delighted to be with all of you. It's a great occasion for me also to address the youngsters. I recall my days long back when I was graduating from the college, and I'd also entered the service the next year when I took the civil services exams. And we really didn't know how to start, where to go, what our story should be. And we listened to many of our mentors who set our stories. And one of our mentors, and I really pay tribute to Mr. Aryu Ray, who was my mentor in service, and regards to ma'am also. And Madam Kumkum Ray is here with us. And in fact, she also looked after us. With this, I start my today's humble presentation. Now, today, when we look in the life is the art of fine blending. Today, we are talking of blended learning. In fact, today's era has given us many innovations, right from internet to the search engines to various types of switches, the confluence of various technologies, the bots, the robots, the AI, all of this, These are only the tools with which we make our presence felt, with which we communicate. Maybe tomorrow, new tools will come, new things will blend, new technologies will be there. We are talking of cloning. We can create the people, the type of people we want. The scientists are still working on putting a chip where all the data, memory, whatever you want can be available to you in the human system as such. So shall we become redundant? That is another question being asked. Now, whatever we are doing, we are blending the physical space with the virtual space, and we are creating augmented realities. Everything fine. We can communicate. But learning, when we say learning is different from teaching. When we say teaching, the focus is the teacher. When we say learning, then focus is the learner. And when we say the learner, then we look for the human being, all the technologies beneath all the tools, because the same tool can cut either way. We are using the technological platforms for education. It all depends how far the digital outreach is. But there are many questions to it. The same platform, as I said, as a police officer, when we see it is being used for radicalization, it is being used to exploit the people. And the worst thing about this, that the victim voluntarily gives the consent without knowing that he or she is giving the consent. So there are other types of these platforms also. In our time, when I joined a course, there's something called distant learning, when the printed material was sent. So the point is, now the same material is being sent digitally in real time. You can also interact. We used to hold periodical sessions or classes once in a while in order to clear our doubts. And here you can, meet your mentor. So blending is the way of life now. And whatever types of technologies may come, they may go. But something important which I want to focus is the human mind, the human being, the human consciousness. As I said, the same platforms, the same tools can be used either way. And most important is, how do we absorb it? Our senses, all our senses, whatever you see, feel, touch, smell, your senses are absorbing it. It is getting recorded in the mind. So much of the garbage is going in our body. But we have to differentiate between the intellect and the wisdom. And the point is, are we able to use that capacity Ray also last evening, and she was in fact guiding me how best I could interact with all of you in the shorter period. So to me, life itself is a blending of many things. To start with, my experience, I worked in very conflict-prone areas. In UP itself, I had been the cities like Muradabad, Gorakhpur, Kanpur, Allahabad. And I went to Government of India. I worked in Assam. I worked in Jammu and Kashmir. And as head of CRPF, I also worked in LW affected areas, the areas. The question is, how do we deal with the difficult situations? The difficult situations will keep coming because the life is dynamic, life is relative. Our basic presumption is that, as somebody has already said, the day you don't have a problem, then you must believe that you're on the wrong path. If you're living your life, the life is so dynamic and relative that each day you must have problems, must have difficulties, and you must know how to win through those difficult situations. So it calls for a blending of many things. And first blending is that you give your own 100%. When I went to BSF, CRPF, and the police you talk about, the people will say that we have the threat from terrorists, we have the threat from so-and-so, threat to life. There's nothing called threat to me. The risk is not the threat per se. To me, the risk is response capacity deficit. The moment you know how to do a work, until you did not know how to drive on a highway with your four-wheeler or a two-wheeler, it was a risk to you. Till you did not know how to put a switch properly or say a fuse properly in your house, it was a risk for you. The moment you knew how to do it, it was no more a risk. So whatever the challenge may be, challenge per se is not a threat, it is not a risk. Risk is our response capacity deficit. And once you give your 100%, and I'm telling you my own example, I'm a commerce graduate. And insofar as biology is concerned or the science is concerned, I was always skeptical. But when my mother contracted cancer, I told myself, no, I have to do it, help my mother to win over the situation. Believe it, that night when I went through all the literature on cancer, all technical terms and everything was clear to me. Without even asking people, I might have consulted one or two people. It happens with all of you also and all of us. The whole year we don't understand so many things, but the night before the examination, when we tell ourselves, I got to do it, tomorrow is my test day, that night the mind starts absorbing what the mind was not absorbing, because the mind observes how serious we are. So we have to blend that our seriousness with the mind, and the God has not differentiated between any human being. Even when I went to police academy, and I'm grateful to Mr. Maman, who was my tutor out there, and I was not able to clear the 12 feet wall, which we had to jump. We had to run and jump the 12 feet wall. There was a technique to do it. I wasn't able to do it. He made me stand near the wall and he told me that, sir, you watch it, how they are doing, and keep thinking that when the same people with two hind legs and the same mind can do it, why can't I do it? And believe it, after 3 days, my mind absorbed. I told myself that I got to do it. I ran and I jumped, and I don't know even to this date how did I do it. So there's a blending of the seriousness with which we have to do. And when I looked after my mother, I learned so many things about the patient care and how to have a psychological or a behavioral treatment which any person in our family needs. And based on that, I wrote a book also, Into the Oblivion. And that book also received a good response. Now, with this, I'll come to certain basics which have helped me. I'll talk to you about certain types of blending in life. Number one, you have to blend four important things if you want to really feel blissful in life. And I call it the blending of alignment, the values, commitment, and the synergy. When I talk of alignment, I mean the direction. Whatever the speed may be, unless the direction is correct, it's of no use. The speed of no use unless the direction. So we have to see the direction in life. Number two, what type of values we are having. And these values become our anchoring points in life. All of us know through our commitment what to do and how to do. And in the era of technology, it's not difficult, my friends. What to do and how to do. All modules are available, even online, otherwise. The important is why to do. And this why, unless you find an answer to this why, you will not give your 100%. And unless you give your 100%, you will not be performing well. You will not be in a blissful state. So alignment, the direction, the values, commitment, and the synergy. The last one is important because in this world, we cannot traverse all alone, all by ourselves. We got to be with people, live with people, and achieve with people. The synergy, which is N+1, nobody knows. The old story of a father who gave 5 sticks separately to his son, which everybody broke, and then he made a bundle and gave it to everybody. Nobody could. Similarly, four people individually perform something, but collectively they perform much more. That is the synergy. So it is the blending of your alignment, the values, the commitment level, and the synergy level. Anything is missing, I think we will not be able to achieve, despite the best of the technologies and tools. You can buy any utensil, but buying a utensil or any gas stove will not lead you to cook a good food. Making a good food is an art. Today, when we are talking of blending of technologies, the blending of physical and virtual life, whatever the best tools, as I said, robots or boats and whatever AI systems or drones or whatever we can have. But what is the art of blending? That art of blending of various things, as per my experience, my friends, it is very important. And another important dimension which I like to touch is blending of another four factors: blending of your timelines, the spaces, the form, and the innovations. As a commerce student, when I started, we were taught about three utilities: the time utility, the place utility, and the form utility. And from that, I derived certain things. When we talk of the time, the three dimensions: the past, present, and future. By looking into the past, we can only derive certain lessons. But being in past all the time is insanity, because the past is not going to come. Being in future, it is hallucination, because the future, when it will come, it will come. The only time when I can be most creative is right now. The only time when we can be friends with each other, we can smile, we can laugh together, we can share thoughts, is right now. So this, we have to be very clear that staying in past is insanity and staying in future is hallucination. The only time we can be creative is right now. Therefore, we have to give a maximum 100%. And that is how we build the base for the future. How strong or good or wide or fruitful the tree would be depends on, in the right moment, in the present moment, what type of seed germination we are having. Another aspect is the spaces. Spaces, the places, or spaces, I'm using them as synonym. We can redesign it, we can create it, or we can outreach it from one place to the other. And this is very important. This, when I talk of space, it is not only the physical space, it's the mental space. And it's very important that we come out of that mental constrictions. It's an awareness about everything around, feeling that everyone around is part of us, whatever is happening is part of us, and thinking that whatever is happening with me, I'm responsible for it. And through this, then we will mend it very fast, rather than having any grievance, any grudge against anybody, because that's not going to pay. So I think of often, have I made mental spaces properly? Do I have to redesign, recreate, create more, or do I have to expand, or do I have to outreach some other platforms, other spaces? Another is the form, and the form is very important. And here we find the multiple confluences. Even in the life, I evolved a combination of multiple things. And long back, I was in Muradabad, and again, I'm happy to mention that Mr. R.U. Ray was my boss that time. Muradabad is a very challenging town from the communal point of view. And we were always learning daily something or the other, because quite a dynamic town. And when I was talking to one of my exporter friend, and he said, Mr. Maheshwari, I started my export with export of brass, but slowly, gradually, I felt that there are oscillations in this field. So I added leather from Kanpur, added woodwork from Barmer and other places. And so now I'm dealing in 4 or 5 lines. Conduit is the same, but the benefit is that when there's an oscillation in one line, I get by the that in life also. There may be oscillations in your job, many things else. So that's why you have hobbies. That's why you have co-curricular activities. You must grow in other fields simultaneously. As they say, don't keep your all the eggs in one basket, but its implication in terms of blending of life. So you must also pick up something in music. You must also pick up something in social work. You must also pick up something in whatever you can do or capable of. So I picked up writing. I picked up public speaking. I also picked up, I had a small land. So I went into farming, whatever we could recreate with the help of Mother Nature so many things. I learned how to use the waste and make it more useful for the community, the recycling of the waste. So things kept adding. And then when I joined the NGOs, and I'll tell you the story how I did it later on by the end of my talk. But then all these things, when there are oscillations in one, the other segments of life keep you blissful. So I would advise all of you, please analyze yourself, your positivities, and try to add life to life, as I call it. And number four in this, and the next in this group of blending is the innovations. Each time something will keep happening. As they say, successful people don't do different things, but they do it differently. In my life, if I share my experiences with you, another blending which I often recommend is blending of failures with opportunity and successes. Success in life to me is a very, very rare phenomena. It's a unique combination of given factors which may happen, may not happen at any point of time. And not necessarily that you succeed or we succeed in a situation with certain given inputs, we necessarily would succeed again under the same circumstances. It is no surety because those are the combination of unique factors. But whatever has happened, failure is a definite possibility. And from each failure, there comes ample opportunity, ample opportunity. I cite two examples from my life. In Bijnor, we missed a terrorist. We were there in a sugarcane field whole night, but somehow something happened. We missed our target. In the morning when I was taking a debriefing, then during debriefing, it came out that one of my teammates was able to sight the terrorist, but the terrorist has AK-47. At that point of time, my teammate had 303 rifle, and a thought came to him: suppose if I fire at him, and if I miss the shot, then he will fire back at us, and he's got a better weapon. And this very thought held him back. Now, it was very important for me as a leader to know this. And when I knew this, there was no reason to rebuke him or say anything. For a leader, like mother, a leader has to be like mother, have to analyze why my child has failed. When I also failed in class, my mother never, my father might have rebuked me. My mother said, so what? You still remain my child. We'll do it next time. That is what I have learned. A leader has to be mother. So I mothered that person and I asked him, and it was important for me to know what is the mindset. And that's what I say. Despite the best of technologies, even if, and there was another case when our team had better equipment, but there was some sort of a psychosis in the mind of the person who was carrying that weapon. And as soon as he heard that so and so has come, somehow he could not balance it. So balancing the mind, the human consciousness, I will repeat it again and again, it will happen with you, is very important. Therefore, any adversity, any failure is to be welcomed, and those situations will only tell you what are the new opportunities waiting for. Success can never be definite. As I told you, you may succeed. There are certain fundamentals that if you are aligned, if you have a synergy, you are taking your team along, you are committed, your values are in place, the chances of success are good. But people who learn from failures, they learn from experience. Learning from experience is important than learning through observation. The people who might learn through observation, without going to Mount Everest, you might read 10 books. You might even go through best of the material on the net when you talk to the blended learning and all. And I'm reminded, it's a small folklore, but my nani in the village and how wise these people were. And there's a short story. And she said, One businessman during last days, he called his son and he said, look, I am so sick. I might die today or tomorrow. Any hardly time left. I want to give you some advice. And the one advice he gave him, Chaya jana, chaya ana. Go in shadow and come back in shadow. The father died. This guy used all the money to create a corridor from his house to the shop. कि मुझे छाया जाना है छाया. And whole his money was lost in this, and he slowly, gradually lost his business. When he asked somebody, and he was cursing his father, look, he's told me like this, so I did it. When he got a right mentor, the mentor told him, look, your father was very wise. He said, Chaya jana, chaya ana did not mean that you use a corridor or a protection or a shadow or a shade. What he meant was go early in the morning as the sun before the sunrise and come back after the sun sets. It means you work hard, work long. So whatever may be available on internet, whatever may be available, but the place, the importance of a mentor or a guru remains in our life because that is based on experience, not on observation. So whenever we talk of blended learning, even in life or on the net, in the context in which the educational institutions talk about, we should be careful about the understanding which is being drawn and is still the importance of a right mentor or a guru exists. So similarly, when I was in Allahabad and Dr. Kumkum Ray may be knowing, in fact, at that point of time, she was one of the person who told me that, no, you keep up your spirit high as you are. And some incident had happened. And so we were on a forced leave for a period. And there was some case going on consequent to that happening. Why it happened, how it happened, that's a different matter. But during that period, when I met a couple of my mentors, they advised me, why don't you see an opportunity in it? Why should you, be disgusted with what is happening in reality? And that was a changing time of my life. I joined a computer course, I joined PhD, I took on to golf, and whatever I could not do, reading of books, visiting few places, knowing nature, I also took interest in photography. So many things added to my life. And later on, when I rose to be, I was heading Bureau of Police Research and Development, which is an apex body of police research, and how handy that PhD and other learnings became for me. And so nobody knows where the life will take you, how. So you keep equipping yourself, see an opportunity in every failure. And that was my turning point of life. That was a turning point of my life. And many people, if any such adverse situations happen in the service, they take it otherwise negatively. But to me, and even when we are talking about the pandemic, as the madam mentioned, there's a huge opportunity in pandemic. Pandemic is only reminding us, go back in life, the type of constructions we had, the type of closeness to the nature, the interdependence of the nature. They're only, and there's nothing new. When I was brought up in Rajasthan, and I feel I'm fully aware about. Even while people came from outside, they were to necessarily make to watch, clear everything. Even when people used to speak, they will use your angocha or the cloth which you had around the neck in front of their mouth so that no, sprinkle goes or touches the other person. Even the sitting methodologies was through masnad, which was always away 3 feet to 4 feet. If you are sitting on the ground, or you use mura or you charpai, we always had a minimum distance. I remember my father rebuking me if I was closing down or putting the muras or charpais very closely. So they were part of our lifestyle at that point of time. Today, we have been made to realize, for whatever, I'm not going to the details, that how this pandemic has come, but it's good that it has come. which has made it realize our follies of the past, which has made it realize how important it is to observe. And today also, what it requires is certain basics, a sanitization, a distancing, and use of the mask. And even if it is not there, even if we are better after the pandemic, I think these things which we have learned, and from any scientific point of view, otherwise also from the point of view of any virus, it may affect, we may have our inbuilt capacity to fight or not. So any adversity has huge opportunities. And even the blended learning, the work styles, so many good things have come. So we must focus on that. And I'm a person who also published a book on the games which I had learned. We all played. There was no, I was in a village. I was brought up in a village, Kadel in Rajasthan, which is near Pushkar. So we played Gilli Danda, Kho Kho, Kabaddi. That is how we grew. And even in that book, I have, made quotations how they have been. Like when you are flying a kite, what you're doing is each time you think that there should be one more attempt, maybe that it flies. That is a very important lesson in life. Each time you must be positive and try once more. Don't leave hope. Try once more and your kite may fly. When you play Gilli Danda, it may be called a rustic game, but be ready to hit it exactly. Those are the lessons drawn from that. So, to me, another confluence or blending is needed in life in terms of various failures, blending the failures with the successes, the opportunities, and you are bound to. And success is not what we think as. The other day, I was going through the data, even the learning which comes to us, it's only 10% learning which comes through formal education, 20% through demonstrative effect or the social interaction, and 70% through experience. What you experience with yourself. And when I talk to you about yourself, as other people also say, every product comes with a manual except the human being. So we must know what we are when we are talking that we ourselves as learner responsible for the 70% of the learning. For a learner, there is a guru at every doorstep. We must know our own self first from within. And for that is why the older people always focused on morning prayers, the evening prayers for 5 minutes, self-auditing, what have I done in the day? Should have I done it? What are my schedule for the tomorrow? And a bit of meditation to set back the alignment. And this is very important. And again, taking a clue, you may find it out of the way, but again, I learned my golf from Mr. Aryu Ray. And the 3, 4 important lessons of golf, which is important for life also. Don't undershot. Overshoot, undershooting, impossible that the ball will go get into the hole. Overshooting, there are all the possibilities that someday it will go. But undershooting, so don't undershoot in life. Number 2, as I said, alignment is proper. Alignment with your target is important. Number 3, which is more important, is not only hitting, it is follow through. It has to be very soft, natural swing, which the God has given to you. But you must follow through. Just hitting and sitting is not going to pay. So follow through is another important lessons. So for a learner, you can learn anywhere. One thing I would also say is that life is very relative and dynamic. I take you back to one of the episode of अकबर. अकबर ने एक बार बीरबल से बुला के कहा कि लोग बाग कहते हैं कि आप बहुत समझदार हैं, विज्ञ हैं. एक कागज निकाला, उन्होंने एक लाइन खींची और कहा कि इस लाइन को बिना छुए छोटा कर दो. यू आर नॉट सपोज टू टच दिस लाइन, you shorten this line. People thought for a while, picked the pencil and he drew a bigger line in front of that line. जब उसने उस लाइन के सामने बड़ी लाइन खींच दी तो वो लाइन स्वतः छोटी हो गई. In life, my experience says that most of the time You will not get a perfect solution. You may not even get a solution. You have to draw a bigger line in front of those problems, that those problems become small, and you rise in life through the new narrative, the new target which you have set and which you can achieve, which you are master of. Then you will attain a greater bliss level. So don't get stuck at any point of time in life. Keep going ahead. Be innovative. Find an alternate solution to everything. Draw a bigger context. And when you draw a bigger context in life, when you rise in life, the same thing is explained in so many ways. When you rise in life, change your levels. Life is like water. You want to look round, flat, enter a plate. You want to look round and tall, get into a glass. That's what they say. So life is very flexible. Change the context. It's very important. This Bible episode, and you can find the new routes, the new ways in your life. Life is a very marvelous thing. Think of the nature which is in auto mode, so many things happening. It is we who discovered some sort of channels through which we are connected, but there are so many greater waves in the nature. We ourselves are potential entities in the nature. Be good. And even my father used to tell me, whenever you are stuck in life, follow the three principles: dawa, dua, and daya. Dawa means whatever the solution is there, try to do it, but at the same time, do good to your fellow beings. Unki jo dua milegi, jo good wishes, they matter. And number three, whosoever your deity is, whosoever your mentor is, where do you believe? Have faith in the person. Meditate, be grateful, in gratitude, being in gratitude. So that is calling for daya. So these are, because there's another book called Secrets. This, like attracts alike and all. The people have explained it so many ways. But these are the different blendings which we need in life to be really successful. As I said, a good utensil will not lead you, or good gas stove will not lead you to make good food. It's your own art how do you make it, despite the best of technologies being available. So you have to have a strategy, you have to have a vision, and mind it, don't run after material things. People are important. Make your influence system, everything will follow. So love people, don't deceive them. Even if they are trying to annoy you, please don't get annoyed, because if anything outside you can irritate you, you are a slave to that extent. Don't forget this word. Don't become a slave to anybody. That anybody can annoy you, you feel bad, so much so your energy will be sapped and you will be losing out in your patience, losing on your energy levels. Please, for God's sake. It's better, therefore, even I quote Kabir and all the saints, they were the wise people who always said, please forgive everybody and forget. It's very important, it's good for you. If you don't forgive and forget, who is suffering? The person who was abused, who is already gone, he must be happy somewhere. And you are thinking in your mind and losing out on your energy levels. And then thinking of reprisal, which is putting you down. And that's why when we talk of awareness, then always think that whatever is happening with me is because of me only. So I will immediately mend the ways, come out of it and go ahead. So these are the important things when deal with people and the influence, the circle of influence you must. Number two, with the mistake which I made in the earlier, I was very segmental approach I had in life. Then I realized, I have to think of the whole ecosystem. When I say the ecosystem, think of the ecosystem of the nature. The animals, the plants, everything form ecosystem. We started killing animals or destroying trees, then what's all is happening, we know. So it's an ecosystem, things are dependent, interdependent upon each other. So whenever you analyze anything, your vision should be to analyze the ecosystem so you will reach to a better solution than anything else. Dealing with dissonance is essential. People get people who will be not agreeing with you. So please don't expect people to always agree with you. मैं ये मान के चलता हूं कि मेरे से कोई सहमत नहीं होगा, but politely आप अपनी बात रखेंगे. दो चीज से आपकी acceptance होगी. Number one, that you really know your subject and you mean it, and number two is your behavior. अगर आपको सब्जेक्ट की जानकारी भी नहीं है, even if you don't know anything, but if your behavior is good, people will help you out. Even if you may be very knowledgeable, whatever blending of the knowledge, but if your behavior is not good, people will not accept you at all. So these are different types of the dissonance will come, the conflicts will come. It's a normal thing, but we must know how to get along with people. So right skills and tools are important. You might have seen many people working hard. A grass cutter, there's a whole story of a grass cutter or the wood cutter. That way, all these small stories. Whenever I am stuck up, I'll go through all Jatak Kathas, old stories, the huge wisdom they have. And so, if you have the right tools and the right skills, it's important. As I already said, I'll again emphasize in the end that it is the mentor which matters a lot for your blissful this thing. I'll end up my talk. I know I overexceeded my time, but then there were so many things. Probably it's my inability to concise it. So when I was SP, I went to a place and there came a street boy. There came a street boy and he came and asked me, "Saab, मैं आपको छू लूं?" मैंने कहा हाँ. उसने छुआ, बहुत खुश हुआ. फिर उसने कहा, "सर मैं फिर से छू लूं?" And the type of smile and the happiness which came to that child's face, I had to pick him up in my lap. And such a happy child I have never seen again. When I asked the people, who is he and what does he do, then I was told that he's a street children, works in a dhaba. और एट टाइम्स इज गोड ऑन ए चौराहा, चौराहे पे जाके जब गाड़ियां रुकती है तो वो साफ करता है. उसकी अपनी समझ में वो गाड़ी साफ कर रहा है, लेकिन गाड़ी का दरवाजा खुलता है और उसको कहा जाता है कि दूर हट, गाड़ी गंदी क्यों कर रहा है. नाउ थिंक ऑफ द साइकोलॉजी ऑफ ए चाइल्ड, जिसको डेली ये सुनने को मिल रहा है. वो अपनी समझ से साफ करने जा रहा है, लेकिन जो गाड़ी का दरवाजा खुलता है और खिड़की खुलती है, उसमें से कहा जाता है कि दूर हटो, तुम गाड़ी गंदी कर रहे हो. और उस तिरस्कार के साथ वो लड़का फिर भी जिंदा था. और उसको ये लगता था कि बड़ी गाड़ियों में चलने वाले लोग बड़े होते, हम तो उनको छू भी नहीं सकते. सो he saw that a SP is getting around, must be a big man, because many people are trying to meet me as the things happen. Not that I'm trying to boast about me. Please focus on the psychology of the child. And he somehow came near me and asked me, "Saab, aapko chhu लूं?" Uski khushi ka. And that was a turning point that I joined one of the NGOs, and that NGO which was looking after the street children. And we'll talk sometime later. But then that forced me, or prompted me, rather motivated me to write a book, 20वीं सदी की 20 कथाएं, in which Shivani ji, who was my neighbor, guided me, because she said कि आप पे तो हर एक स्टडी, आप इतना इन्वेस्टिगेशन करते हैं, तो आप पे तो कहानियों की कमी नहीं है. He was my mentor, so how I started. And then my book went to Neeraj Gopal Das Neeraj. He also appreciated it, and he also guided me a lot. And later, when I was in BSF in Delhi and CRPF, I also came across Ruskin Bond. That is how, when you keep locating for the opportunities, keep observing things, they keep changing your life. So you must dream properly. You should must visualize how and what your story should be. You are the author of your life. You have to blend many things. So blended learning doesn't end up in college. You'll be a learner each moment, every doorstep. And how properly you blend your failures and opportunities and successes. You blend the bad people, good people, all type of people you will meet in society. Play your cool. If you are keeping your human consciousness alive, I will not say much. The things which changed my life was a bit of meditation. A good mentor you must have as a personal mentor. Two things I say: a good mentor, and you be your self tutor through meditation. These are the things which do help. I wish you all the best. And I don't know whether the time is there, but if you want to ask me any questions, I have time with me. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. I'm really thankful to you, sir, for your most inspiring words. You have guided our students with the idea that blending is a way of life, and every day we have to keep trying to come out of difficult situations. We feel immensely proud to be a part of the audience and to have listened to you, such an illustrious personality you are. I was completely mesmerized by your speech, sir. It was indeed an honor to have you here, sir. Thank you so much. Uh, Students or anyone else, if you have any questions, you may please ask.
I think everybody is so taken up by the story of blending of Dr. Maheshwari that it'll take a while for it to sink in, to keep haunting, and therefore no questions are really coming up. But in case students have questions, this is a golden opportunity. And I hope this is the beginning of our interactions with Dr. Maheshwari. For I feel I'm really blessed that my children will have opportunities to interact and change their perceptions and go on to a path of self-enlightenment. So if you have any questions, this is a golden opportunity. Please ask. Other than that, I'll request Dr. Maheshwari to join us, if not much, at least once a semester to talk to our students and enlighten us. Thank you so much, Dr. Maheshwari.
All right. Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am. Before we begin with our next session, let us listen what Arshma Minai from second year has to say to our final year students.
परिंदे यूं अब के उड़ा कर तू जा जला सूरज को जाके आसमां पे तू है परिंदे भर ऐसी उड़ाने तू हर नजरिए तुझसे पूछे आग इतनी क्यों धूल उड़ा जाके मंजिलों पे यूं किन हवाओं से तेरी यारी है उड़ जा अब तेरी बारी है उड़ जा अब तेरी बारी है उड़ जा अब तेरी बारी है
Thank you, Arshma. It was indeed a very engrossing performance by for our audience. Now, I would like to welcome our very honorable and prestigious Professor Dr. Satyat Prakash Tripathi, who leaves no stone unturned in motivating our students with his flawless speech. Welcome, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. First of all, I would like to thank our director, ma'am, who is always a source of inspiration and guidance for all of us. And thank you, Archana. And I thank my dear students who have all come today. I think the platform has already been set by Dr. Maheshwari. You see the program educational objectives, the course objectives, the course learning objectives, and the program learning objectives. You find they have all been summed up what Dr. Maheshwari has said. And as Dr. Archana has really put that it was a mesmerizing presentation. I totally agree. I have no words. Speaking after him is not easy. the way he has put his things on the basis of his experience and observations, the way he has actually told us how he grew up gradually in life, and the blending, you see how beautifully he has put the blending of failures and opportunities and success. We look before and after and pine for what is not. The irony of life is, as Shelley has rightly said in Skylark, that we are not satisfied with what we have. We are dissatisfied with what we do not have. We look before and after and pine for what is not. Our sincerest laughter with some pain is fraught. Our sweetest songs are those that tell of saddest thoughts. Sometimes you find sweet are the uses of adversity. And today, you see this orientation program, I think it has just got a perfect beginning by the presentation of Dr. Maheshwari. The way he has actually explained by giving day-to-day examples, by sharing his experiences and observations of life, I think it could have not been better than this. You find associating, governing, experiencing, socializing. Our orientation program is all about this. My students, he told about alignment and values and commitment and synergy. He told about time and spaces and form. He told about innovation. He told how a leader should be. A leader is one who knows the way, who shows the way and goes the way. So Dr. Maheshwari, he led by example. He showed the way also. He went those ways also. And he knows those ways also. So how beautifully he has actually given, or I can say he has shared his experiences and observations. This is what this orientation is all about. And that is how I put that this is the program education objective, the course objective, the course learning objective, and the program learning objectives. Dr. Manjari is going to put it in more elaborate way after me, but I'm really speechless after listening to Dr. Maheshwari. The way he has given examples of Birbal, the way he has actually shared the things which he has actually experienced in life, I think these are the outcomes. And if a person is sharing something, I'm reminded of Francis Bacon. You see, we are all students of literature and language and communication skills. And today you are in the 5th semester. After 3 months, you will be going into the 6th semester, and then you are out for your journey of life. So what is the outcome? What literature has told you? What language has made you learn in life? You have read Francis Bacon. He says, read not to contradict and confute, not to believe and take for granted, not to find talk and discourse, but to weigh and consider. Whatever you learn, whatever you study, you see, again, Bacon has put very rightly in his essay of his studies, abant studia mors. Studies should pass into character. If you are not able to use those studies in your life, then what is the purpose of study? He says studies give you delight, they give you ability, they give you ornament. So you are studying literature, you have studied drama. If you don't learn the art of dialogue and retaliation and articulation and melodic effect, then what is the use of studying drama? Remembering only name of Shakespeare and Milton and Johnson is not going to help you in life. The only thing which is going to help you is what you get out of it. Life is a tale told by an idiot full of sound and fury signifying nothing. So what I'm trying to tell you is that you are studying literature. You are studying poetry, you are studying drama, you are studying fiction, you are studying essays. So now is the time to make the best use of it. Similarly, you are studying communication skills. Become a charismatic speaker. If you cannot become a charismatic speaker, then what is the use of studies? Reading makes a full man, writing an exact man, and speaking a ready man. Remember, I'm running short of words after listening to Dr. Maheshwari, but then you see, I am really inspired by his presentation. And had there been time, it would have been, we would have all loved him to listen as long as he could. You see, a speaker, you are learning communication skills. You will never and ever get a second chance to make a first positive impression in life. So whenever you get a chance, grab it. Like he said, failures are the pillars of success. Make those failures your opportunities, and then you will succeed in life. You should have firm determination. You should have perseverance. And you should have will. And that will should be indomitable. So what happens is, when you are speaking in life, make the audience crazy. Listen to the speeches of Martin Luther King. Listen to the speeches of Mahatma Gandhi, John F. Kennedy. Plenty of material is there on YouTube. But then, when you get a chance to speak, try to make the audience crazy. Listen to understand. Listening is very important. You see, these are the outcomes. These are the outcomes which are being shared in the orientation program. What is the objective of program? What is the objective of the course? What is the objective of student learning? So these are the things. There is nothing new. What you study, you must be able to use in life. Listen to understand. Don't try to keep on comparing one teacher with another teacher. As I have told you time and again in the class, that these fingers are not equal. But all these fingers are very important. Your job in the class is not to compare one teacher with another teacher. Your job is to make the best. You take the best and leave the rest. Every teacher in him or her has something best. As a student, you should observe the best qualities what the teacher is trying to give in your class. So the outcome will be there. But the irony of life is that we just keep on comparing and contrasting. When I was in school and college, I also used to do the same thing. It is a part and parcel of life. But then, as you grow up in life, you know what is right and what is wrong. So your job, your main aim in life as a student is, as long as you study, though the entire life is studying, every day is a new day. As Dr. Maheshwari has said, that in every day you learn something. You try to observe, and on the basis of observations, you find you try to grow more and more in life. That is, sky is the limit. So try to listen very attentively, listen to understand. Then you should write to inspire. The outcome of writing is that whenever you write anything, you should be inspiring. Look at all the proverbs in English. They have all come from writing. Charity begins at home. Knowledge is power. If winter comes, can spring be far behind? Revenge is a kind of wild justice. You see, from literature, a little water clears us of this deed. You find to be or not to be, plenty. You see, as students of literature, you see the beauty. The beauty of our students studying in Amity School of Languages is that we are studying language through literature. When you speak, you will be speaking different from a management student, from an architect student, from an engineering student, because your basics are the language through literature. Literature helps you to cultivate, to polish your language. So write to inspire. Even if you write one sentence, all the proverbs in English, they are not paragraphs, they are just one sentence. So keep on writing. And I must tell you, as Dr. Maheshwari has said, that failures, you should make errors, you should make mistakes, but be careful that you should not make blunders in life. Error and mistakes, they are part and parcel of learning in life. And trust me, believe me, if you do not make an error and mistake in writing, you will not become an original writer in life. It is only the errors and mistakes which you make, you become original. Then, the last thing I would say, the outcome of studies is that you should be writing, you should be winning and creating impressions. We are all studying on the Bloom's taxonomy, remembering, understanding, applying, analyzing, evaluating, and creating. The last thing is creation. I have taught you Death of the Author by Roland Barthes. The purpose of a text is not in its origin, it is in its destination. The birth of the reader must be ransomed by the death of the author. You should read anything objectively. You should observe. You look at Robert Frost. Robert Frost says, two roads diverged, and sorry I could not travel both. I shall be telling you with a sigh, somewhere ages and ages hence, two roads diverged, I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference. So the road of life, that has to be chosen by you. You should be a better thinker, you should be a better decision maker, and better outcome will come. In the examination, you find when you get a question paper, there are 10 questions. The instruction is answer any 5. And sometimes you know all the 10 answers. But the irony of life is, where is the time? How you are going to write all the 10 in 3 hours? So the most difficult thing in life is to select those 5. Which 5? Because those 5, they are going to change the history of the destiny of your life. Through the examination, they will change the destiny of your life. So the most important thing is better thinking, better decision, and better outcome. So in the end, I would just like to say, I'm not going to take much time. You see, a lot has been given. The platform has rightly been set by Dr. Maheshwari. I think he was absolutely apt person for the presentation today. And I thank ma'am for bringing him, and we need him many more times because he is a motivational speaker. And I'm sure if he has motivated me and my faculty, my students have surely been motivated by him. So once again, I would just like to end by saying that socializing, associating, governing, experiencing, now is the time you find whatever you have studied, whatever our programs are there, even in interdisciplinary studies, you find the most important thing is the outcome. So in the end, I would like to tell my students that the sky is the limit for you. And in Amity School of Languages, we teach you manners also, behavior also. As he rightly said, that sometimes matter is not important, the manner becomes very important in life. The way you put your things, the way you narrate, the way you tell, the way you are actually standing and sitting, the way your body gestures are there, they all do matter in life. So Amity School of Languages not only teaches you literature, but also he teaches literature through life. And through literature, you get the manners and etiquettes, the behaviors, and so many other things. So sky is the limit for you. All my best wishes. Never and ever look back and down in life. Always and ever look up and move forward in life. Thank you, and God bless you.
Thank you, sir, for your wonderful words of motivation and appreciation. I'm really delighted to hear you, sir. I'm sure our students must have learned some very important lessons for a new beginning. Now, I would like to take this opportunity to welcome our very gracious and eminent faculty member, Dr. Manjari Johari. I request you, ma'am, to introduce our students about the program structure, PLO, assessment plan, and detailed academic programs and activities. Welcome, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Archana. Comes in between, yeah. Thank you so much, Archana, for this introduction. And I would like to begin by first thanking our director, Professor Ray, for her everlasting guidance and support to all of us. And I would also like to, in addition, thank her, and I completely agree with what Professor Tripathi just said about having introduced us to Dr. Maheshwari. His words were indeed insightful, and I think the students must have immensely benefited because he told us about life through his experience, and that I think is a very vital ingredient of one's growing up, and students would learn immensely through his talk today. Now, before I continue any further, I would like some of the students who are here for the orientation to please raise their hands so that I can see that you are here,
and that you have been listening to what all has been going on now for over an hour. So Harshit is here, I can see. Jasia, Manzoor, I can see. Two people. Soumya Verma, wonderful. I can see more and more hands coming up. Great students. I've asked you to do this because I will be asking you questions in between, and I would like you to please respond when I'm talking. Right, I have used the background for the very first time today. I do not know if you can also see me, or is it only the background that you are able to see. Can you hear me clearly? Yes, please. Someone?
Yes,
You
ma'am.
can? Right,
Yes,
right.
ma'am.
Okay. And am I also visible, or is it the background that is visible only?
No,
I'm
ma'am,
not
just the
very
Ma'am,
sure.
it's
background.
actually the background that is visible, but your face is not visible.
All right. And I do not know how to fix this. Can you help me? I'll remove the background.
Ma'am, are you doing it from your laptop?
Yeah, I'm on my laptop.
Ma'am, please go on the three dots that is just close to the camera.
Yeah. Yes.
You will find, you just click on that, you will find apply background effects.
Just a sec. I'm taking assistance of remove the background. Just a sec, students. Right, yeah. I've been able to fix it with the help of Rohit. So that's how students come handy to you, even after they've become your colleagues. Right, so students, I was speaking to you, and some of you have raised your hands. Can I also ask you and request you to please switch on your camera so that I can see your faces also? Yes, please. Some of you, please. Two or three of you. Just to give me the assurance that you are there and also participate and would like to participate. Nobody? Why are you so camera resistant? Sayyid is there. Sayyid was all right. Musarrat is which is this is my PhD scholar, Srishti Mitra. All right. Thank you very much for responding. Thank you so much. Right. So I'll now continue, and for that I'll share my screen, and I'll be asking you certain questions. Which can you see my screen, students? Is it visible to you? Is the screen visible, students?
Yes, ma'am.
It is all right. Okay, great. Now, here. Now, I would like to begin by asking you a question. I've been a teacher of English literature and language also for a long period of time, and this image had come to me in the morning, or I think was it last night, that this was supposed to be used for the orientation as a backdrop. I found it a very interesting image, and I thought I'll begin by asking you all uh, as to what does the image convey to you. Yes, please. I want some of you to respond. You must have done picture composition in school, right? So what is it that comes to your mind by looking at this image? It says orientation 21, and you can see this lovely image of youngsters like you all. Yes, please. Some of you?
Ma'am,
Hello?
can I?
Yeah, and I would also like you to please tell me your name, because right now all that I can see is just the screen, as you can see. Yeah, so you are?
Good morning, ma'am. Ma'am, this is Shraddha Agarwal.
Okay, Shraddha, wonderful. Yes, Shraddha, please. What does this image convey to you?
Ma'am, ma'am, this image conveys that the youngsters' passion and I think unity.
Okay. Passion and unity. All right. Okay, Shraddha, good. Okay, anything else?
Thank you, ma'am.
All right. Anyone else, please? I want two more responses. So she talks about the
Ma'am, can I
passion.
speak?
Yes, please. Who's this?
Masarat Fatima, ma'am.
Yes, Musarat. Yes, please.
Ma'am, according to me, this is a very vibrant image where the youngsters and like students who seem to be some university student only, they are sitting with a very positive note and they are enjoying some leisure time with a lot of happiness.
Right. All right. Fine. Thank you, Musarat. Yes. Anyone else, students?
Ma'am, may I?
Any? Yeah. Yes. And you are the last respondent. Yes, please.
Ma'am, I'm Srishti, and I think that it shows the amiable environment our university has.
the
Okay.
friendly and the like we are blended with education as well as cultural activities. So
All
maybe
right.
that's what it is.
Okay, and does it not ignite in you a certain desire, Srishti? You've been on an online mode, and here are these students sitting together, playing the
Yes, ma'am.
guitar, they're chattering, they are enjoying. So, does
Yes,
this
ma'am.
not create some, yeah, what is that idea that this kind of,
Ma'am, of
ignites in
course,
your mind?
we've been doing this online mode since past I think 1 year, and
Yeah,
we all miss the face-to-face interactions and
yes,
the
right.
time we hang out in our free times.
Yes, yes. Hang out and also do creative pursuits. Like you
Yes, ma'am.
performed in this play, which I remember you most daringly through. So these are activities that you've been missing out, and we hope that in the coming semester, after things get resolved, you all should be back because teachers are complete only with the presence of the students, and your presence in the class is indeed very energizing, students. And this is how I would like to begin. This is my ode to my students that we miss you here in the classes. So it'd be wonderful if you all could be back. I'm sure you too are looking forward to being back. So once the things are normal, we'll be meeting personally. Till then, we'll continue in the blended mode, which, like Dr. Maheshwari said, is a part of our life. And it's great that you've been able to adjust and make the most of this situation. With this, I'll move on now. So this is our orientation program for the 5th semester students. You've been here with us 1 year. You were here in the campus. All of last year, you've been doing your classes online. And we are starting with the 5th semester. You are now in the final year, and the university has called this orientation program Diksharam. When I read this, I again found it a very fascinating title to have been given to the orientation program. So, can anybody tell me what do you understand by Diksha Aram? Yes, please, quickly, very quickly, and then I'll move on. Yes, someone, please. Yes, please. Diksha Aram. Anybody? Soumya Verma, if you are there. I think someone had just unmuted. Who's that?
Ma'am, maybe the start of our studies, like Diksha is giving someone learning, and then there's Aram, the start.
Very good. And your name is?
Ma'am, Srishti.
All right, okay, Srishti. Yeah, Diksha is about education, about seeking education, and Arambh, of course, is the start. So this is the start of, this is the orientation day for your 5th semester, and it has beautifully been titled Diksha Arambh. Again,
Can
some of
I
our own
interrupt for
Indian
a minute?
culture. Yes, ma'am,
Can
please.
I interrupt?
Yes, ma'am, please.
Anjali,
Yes.
may I have your permission to interrupt?
Absolutely, ma'am. It's a pleasure, please.
So, you know, it's a beautiful word and it comes from the tradition of Guru and Shishya.
Yes, ma'am.
And Guru would give Shiksha and Diksha. And uska जो रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी होती थी विद द स्टूडेंट शिष्य, वो शिष्य किसी भी सांसारिक चीज से उसकी पूर्ति नहीं करता था, लेकिन हमेशा ऋणी रहता था अपने गुरु का. ऋणी मीन्स indebted to the guru for all that the guru gave to his or her शिष्य. और ये गुरु और शिष्य की परंपरा प्रॉबली एक ऐसा बॉन्ड थी, एक ऐसा जुड़ाव था गुरु और शिष्य से जो हर एक सांस से जुड़ा हुआ था. और इसलिए this is such a beautiful word, and I'm so glad, Dr. Jory, you have asked the meaning from the students, because हमारे students जो Amity में हैं, हमारे students जो हमसे जुड़ते हैं, वो कहीं ना कहीं हर सांस में जुड़े रहते हैं. और ये मैं अपने सीनियर स्टूडेंट्स से ही नहीं, सारे स्टूडेंट्स से. Rohit, who's a part of us, he was our student, and all those who have left us are alumni. उनसे हम लोग अभी भी किसी तरह से हर सांसों में जुड़े हैं, उनकी सफलता में जुड़े हैं, उनके उनकी खुशियों में जुड़े हैं. उनके दुख में जुड़े हैं, और यही परंपरा एमिटी की जो है वो हमको सारी यूनिवर्सिटीज से भिन्न करती है. दैट इज हाउ एमिटी is stands out among all the universities, and thanks to the vision of our founder president, our founders, our chairman, and all those sitting at AKC House and management, that they had such a glorious vision. And I only hope that we live up to that vision, both students, Shishya, and gurus are teachers. So thank you so much for that question, Dr. Jory.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for elucidating it so beautifully, ma'am. I'm so grateful to you. Thank you so much. So, students, this morning when I was driving up, I thought that if they've given the title Diksha Aram, I should ask you what it means, because I believe in this, and I've also shared it with you in class, that teacher-student bond is something which is very sacred, and it lasts for a lifetime. And it's like a human interaction that is taking place between the teacher and the taught, which is not strictly commercial. Teachers are not merely service providers. We are getting involved with you all when we are in the classroom, sharing from our experiences, like Dr. Maheshwari just did. And just now, while I was in the orientation, I got a message from a student of mine whom I had taught in school and later in Amity University also. And he requested me that, ma'am, I've cleared UPSC. Can you please help me with essay writing, because that is the area in which I have missed out and I would like to improve. So he must have had some trust and faith that ma'am could probably help me. So it is this bond, students, that education should foster, and which we at Amity School of Languages try hard to instill in our students, and we as faculty believe in it most closely in our hearts. Right. So when I was looking for how to begin with the orientation session, yeah, this is, I wanted to start with a quotation, and I struck upon this line by Albert Einstein. He says, intellectual growth should commence at birth and cease only at death. And education is not only about earning your degree. Degree, of course, is very important. We all need that for our personal and professional growth. But it is important to be in a pursuit of intellectual growth, and this should be your lifelong aim to build yourself, to upgrade yourself through whatever experiences, observations, interactions that you have with people around, through reading extensively and being aware of your surroundings, of being a sentient human being. So I thought this was a beautiful thought to begin with. In continuation with this, he again says that I never teach my pupils, I only provide the conditions in which they can learn. Now, this again I thought was very pertinent to what we practice here, because Amity School of Language is a microcosm of the university campus, of the university, of the universe of Amity University. And this is what we believe in, and which we try to practice, that we try to provide conditions where you can learn. And learning, as I said, is a lifelong process. It does not stop within the four walls of the classroom, which I always keep repeating in my class, that education needs to go beyond the classroom, and life beyond the classroom needs to come into the classroom, so that this blending, like Dr. Maheshwari says, happens, and it should lead to your intellectual growth, which I said is a lifelong process. Now, there was a video which I had downloaded, but I don't think we have now the time to show that, so I will move on and skip that for now. I can share it in the class. Now, students, you are all in the final year, and I'm supposed to tell you a little bit about the technicalities of the course here, for which I have got this screenshot for you, which clearly outlines the mission of the program of English Honours. And it clearly says here, as you can see in the slide, that it is to provide a thorough grounding in literature and in language from the earliest period to the present day, taking into account global reach of the language and the diversity and the range of all literary manifestations The program extends its limit beyond the literature produced in the British Isles, and in this semester, for example, you will be reading Australian, African, Canadian, American literature. You've already read, I suppose, in the previous semester. Like you can see, you are in the final year of the course, and this entire journey of 6 semesters has been planned in such a way that you are introduced to, you are made to delve into the depths of not only English literature per se, but of different isles, as it is said here in the program mission. As you can again see here, students, in the program description, it says this entire course of 3 years should cover 160 credits in your course, in which you study different papers. So I will not enumerate them because you've already read them in the first 2 semesters, in the first 2 years and in the 4 semesters. So you all know that in each semester you are expected to earn, for example, in this semester you are supposed to do 28 credits. So we keep on adding these every semester, and by the end of the 6th semester, you should have earned courses that amount to 160 credits, which includes a variety of courses. And all of these courses are with a clear intent of meeting the program mission, which has been outlined right at the beginning of this slide, and it is given on Amazon as well. So this is the program mission and the program description. Now, I was expected to touch upon and introduce to you what is meant by multidisciplinary and holistic education. Again, before I do that, I would like you to respond to me and please tell me what is it that you understand by multidisciplinary and holistic. Yeah, any 2 people, please. One person can talk about what you understand by multidisciplinary. It is self-explanatory. I would still invite participation from my students because I need to know you are there. Otherwise, I feel it's just the screen and me. Yes, please, someone. Multidisciplinary. What is your understanding in 1 sentence of this field? Multidisciplinary. Yes, please.
Ma'am, can I speak?
Musarrat, thank you very much for coming up. Just give me a moment and let me try and see if any of my UG students will do that. Yes, please. Students
Okay.
of BA. Thank you, Musarrat, nonetheless. Yes, anybody from my BA course, 5th semester, or I think the juniors BA 3 and MA 3 are also here. Anybody? Multidisciplinary.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, yes, please. Who's this?
Ma'am, Soumya speaking this side.
Yes, Soumya. Yes, Soumya. Very good. Yes, Soumya.
Yeah. Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, multidisciplinary, I think this line means that something that includes the aspects of all the disciplines that we are about to cover.
Okay.
And holistic is something that is covering all the grounds that we need to have a proper build and foundation. Something
All
that is
right.
covering all the aspects.
Okay. So multidisciplinary you feel is about various disciplines, not limited to any one. For example, literature in this case, and holistic is an overall development, right? So it says
Yes, ma'am.
holistic, yeah, but its implication is of the word WHOLE, because the purpose of multidisciplinary education is to bring about a well-rounded and a holistic personality within the students, and that is what has been very, very strongly outlined also in the National Education Policy 2020, and from where it has been, this idea has been taken, and it was expected that we should introduce you to this thought and idea of what is multidisciplinary and holistic education. In order to explain this further, I've lifted a few lines and excerpts from National Education Policy 2020, where it has been outlined very, very succinctly as to what is multidisciplinary education, what is the purpose of this education. So as you will see here, I will not read out the slide, I will just outline and point out the important ideas here to you. So as you can see here, in Indian educational history, historically Indian education has been holistic, and they have this is again students, this is not my language I have taken, this is an excerpt as I have mentioned here from NEP 2020. So it has been practiced from at times of antiquity in India in the universities of Takshila and Nalanda. So you can think about how far back this idea and philosophy goes in Indian education, and it was thought that in NEP 2020 it should further be reinforced and brought about in our educational system. As you can see here, that there's this work Brahma Bhatt's Kadambari, which outlines 64 kalas or arts. So these 64 kalas, not one is less than the other. They are all important in the holistic development of an individual or student. Right? Are you there with the students? So this is what is meant by holistic and multidisciplinary. It includes science, humanities, music, carpentry, medicine, engineering, and you name it. It's all there. And it was practiced in times of antiquity also, when all of these were blended together. And these kalas or arts are 64 in number. This is what, in a small measure, is also attempted by through education that we practice at Amity University, and it has now been also recommended by the NEP and very strongly by University Grants Commission. So as you can see in the third bullet, I say this notion of a knowledge of many arts, or what is modern times is known as liberal arts, must be brought back into Indian education, as it is exactly this kind of education that is required for the 21st century. You are already in the third year of your education, students, but you still have a long journey ahead of you. And when you are studying, you should always be conscious of not limiting yourself to any one area and saying, this is where, of course, expertise is important. Of course, your specialization in one's field is desirable, but not at the expense of ignoring the other fields, right? For example, the student who called me up, he must have worked really hard for other papers. Somehow or the other, he ignored the importance of writing skills, and which is why he now wants to brush up on his essay writing so that he can make it to UPSC. So he's done his engineering, then he's worked, and now he finds that he needs to still brush up on his writing skills. So it's not that getting a job is the end of it. No, it is not, and it continues, and it is an ongoing process, which I can vouch because I have been with you for 3 years now, and I've been in this profession for long, and I have learned it from my seniors and from Professor Ray, which she has already asserted to you in her introduction to the orientation program today. It goes on to say that students, it has been found that when multidisciplinary approach is adopted, it leads to, as you can see here, positive learning outcomes. It includes creativity, innovation, critical thinking, higher order thinking capabilities, and problem solving. So when you're sitting in the classroom, students, of course, marks are important. Attendance is important, but it should not be limited to that, because you have to think beyond your earning of the BA degree, and that is what will lead you to have a holistic personality, which is what is the aim of education in the present times, and it has always been so. The need for you is to be aware of this. Similarly, following multidisciplinarity leads to improvement in research. For example, when you write your research papers, you might pick up a text of literature, but you want to do a psychoanalytic study, or you want to do a Marxist study, or you want to study the sociological background of that text. So what are you doing? Or historical perspective, you are blending disciplines of psychology and sociology and history and whatnot, and philosophy. So it is blended. It is not strictly compartmentalized, right? So that is what is meant by multidisciplinarity, and it leads to holistic approach. Now, what is holistic education? Soumya has made a good attempt, and in order to elucidate and make a very pointed observation about it, I have written in red the dictionary meaning of the word holistic. It is concerned with the wholes or with the complete system rather than analysis of individual parts. So once we adopt multidisciplinary approach of education, holistic personality development would be the natural outcome of it. As you can see here, holistic and multidisciplinary education aims to develop all capacities of individual beings, whether it is intellectual, aesthetic, social, physical, emotional, moral, in an integrated manner, not in a compartmentalized manner. It leads to, as you can see here, well-rounded individuals in various fields, and we've already seen there are 64 kalas: arts, humanities, language, science, social science. And I think students, bringing about this point in such a hammered manner is very, very important, because as a teacher, at the school level, and I've always wondered that why is humanities given the second preference, that if you are not a bright student, then okay, you take humanities. And right now we can find that education is kind of getting revamped and they are integrating these, so this kind of discrimination and segmentalization is not welcome, and it should not be inculcated and encouraged, and this is what is being attempted through the NEP of 2020. And in order to meet this, students, there is something which is called choice-based credit system. So you might take an admission in BA English Honors, but the choice-based credit system enables you to undertake courses from a variety of disciplines, so that the multidisciplinarity is attained through your choice of courses in a certain program that you have enrolled yourself in. Are you there with me, students? So what are the various courses,
Yes.
students? I have outlined these for you, but I really wanted you to yourself think and rack your brains and to tell me that how is multidisciplinarity being observed in this course that you are doing. So I have listed these courses which you are doing. You may probably not be consciously aware of it at the top of your mind. It might not be so that, okay, I'm doing it because it is multidisciplinary. No, it is not. It is, I mean, you are students, you do the courses that are given to you, but there is a certain thought behind designing the course and the program in the way it has been done. So you find that you have foreign business language, communication skills, behavioral science. You will this semester be reading a new course which is called professional ethics. And in the next semester, we will make you do a course which is on human values and community outreach, universal human values. These are now integrated into your courses, into your program. Each student, before you pass out, is expected to do a course in these areas. Ada ma'am will be talking to you at length about it in a session on HVCO and how important it is. Again, you've done history, you've done sociology, and you have these choice-based credit courses which come within the domain, and the open elective courses which also are aimed at offering a multidisciplinary approach to the education that you undertake. So again, this is choice-based credit system. I'll take a moment and I would like you to very quickly go through these 5-7 points that have been outlined here. So various elective courses are offered to you, which would fall within open elective and domain elective. This semester also, within your program structure, the credit requirement is 28, for which we have started a domain elective course in history, which you will all be doing. So this is the purpose of open and domain elective courses. Open elective courses would be when you choose a course that has been offered by any other institute. So that is what is meant by open elective and domain elective courses. It can be inter-institution, inter-university transfer of courses. Now in the 5th semester, these are the courses that are offered to you, which you will also be able to see in my next slide, in which I have outlined the program structure for you. So I've already spoken about it. Right, so this is the program structure for the 5th semester students, and you can see the credits for each course are mentioned here, and these are the course titles. You've already enrolled for your NTCC. I hope you've done a good job out of it, because very soon you will be required to submit your projects. So I would really like you to do, because as you heard Professor Tripathi talk about Bloom's taxonomy, the peak of the learning process is creativity and knowledge creation. So this has been prescribed for you in order to make you write creatively, undertake research projects, and indulge in creative thinking and coming up with solutions to problems. Right. Next is you have one core course only this semester, as you can see here, which carries 6 credits. It's a course in poetry. It's a course in poetry. It's modern English poetry. And other than that, like I said, you have 4 specialization elective courses. 5 choices are given, out of which you are required to do 4 of them. And the ones you will be doing is American drama, African, Australian, Canadian literature. So like I said right at the beginning, the program mission is to introduce you to English literature of various origin And here in this semester itself, you'll be reading from 5 different countries. So you'll be reading African American, English, Australian, Canadian, and in the previous semester you already read Indian literature. So this is how the program structure has been outlined for the 5th semester students. Now this is your program educational objectives. What is the objective of undertaking this course? It has again been very deftly outlined by the university. So as you can see, 10 of them are outlined here. I will read a few of them so that you will understand what is meant by educational objective. It is expected that by the time you finish this course, you would have acquired and you'll be able to acquire and demonstrate the knowledge of trends, issues, themes, and history of literature. Again, to be able to use ICT, that is use of computer-based tools to understand multiple perspectives arising out of literary text. So when you do research, you are able to look through the lens. Various lenses can offer different interpretations, which is what is meant by multiple perspectives. You should be able to develop, again, see PEO number 9, develop holistically and put the life skills learned to good use in professional sphere through PSDA and focus on improving creativity. PSDA is skill development courses that are given to you. Right. So again, holistically, the entire purpose of your education is to create, to achieve this target. And this is the program learning outcome. Again, 10 of them have been outlined for you by the university, which is in continuation with what is the PEO will lead to what is meant by PLO. So once your educational objectives are met, then learning outcome is a natural outcome or a consequence of that. So as you can see, PLO 9, for example, I'll read, students will be able to integrate knowledge and creative abilities which can be used to as a base of creative work, scholarly research, and make them industry ready. So there have been our students, you know, the other day Rohit was working on the alumni group, and there were students here who did their BA course who were not very interested in literature per se, but it has led them to diverse paths. So some of them are in media, somebody has become a news reporter, somebody has become a fashion reporter, someone has joined the army. So the sky is the limit, but you need to be aware of what you want, and whatever you do, you should give it your best. And you should have the ability to integrate this knowledge so that you are able to achieve creativity. Now students, there's something called course learning outcome. It is mentioned in each of your courses. I have picked up 3 of them here, but if you will look at the syllabus after you've done your re-registration, you will find the courses given there that you'll be undertaking. So each course is expected to meet an outcome, and which is called the course learning outcome. For example, the course CLO of modern English poetry is to understand and comprehend the complex allusions, symbols, imagery in modern English poetry, analyze the development and introduction of different poetical forms in literature, appreciate various themes in the light of socio-political development. Again, see, it's not only poetry, it's connected with the society, with the political situation of the country, of the world. Again, the CLO of your American drama is given here to be able to understand the social, cultural, political issues. So again, it cannot be read in isolation, students, because literature is never created in a vacuum. It is always always an outcome of the forces, external forces of the society, culture, politics, and so on and so forth. Again, various isms you will be introduced to: expressionism, nihilism, Dadaism. This is what you are expected to know after you've done this course of American drama. Similarly, African literature will introduce, you know, this is the first time, I suppose, that you will be reading African literature. So it will offer you a completely new perspective to colonial and post-colonial studies of nationalism, race, culture, identity, gender. All the texts that are prescribed for you would touch upon these themes and introduce you to this to something which is so far off from us. We are not even aware of it, but the beauty of literature is to introduce you to a world which is contained within a book, you know. Otherwise, we would not even know what are the atrocities that the blacks have gone through in Africa. So these texts will introduce you to those realities and to post-colonial take on on these issues of race, culture, identity, gender, language in the texts. So this is what was course learning. I have mentioned 3 of them here. There are many more which you can read at your leisure when you open your Amazon and look at the syllabus. Now, students, how do we undertake assessment for this course to see whether the program learning outcome has been met? As you can see, there are 2 types that are given here. It is direct and indirect. Now, direct includes comprehensive exam, you've done your end semester exams, rubrics, plagiarism check like you do for your NTCC, assessment of your dissertation, viva, program audits and such. Categories, and within indirect you'll find continued scholarly success of graduates, curriculum and syllabus analysis, external reviewers. So this is being done while you are not aware of it, but it is still being done in order to see whether the PLO that was designed at the onset of the course have been met or not. Now, what are the competencies and the skills which you are expected to have developed by the end of this course, students? It is called graduate attribute. These are the competencies and the skills you should have had. You should have a sound knowledge of the subject, research skills, literary merit, multiple perspectives, communication skills, holistic development. Again, see how many times is this word being used. So you have to understand that it is at the base, it is the foundation of this very program, and this is the aim of this program: holistic development and leadership and team spirit. So anytime you get involved in a course or a program that or an event that the university, that the department, institute organizes, so these are various areas through which these attributes are honed and developed within the students. So we see leadership skills coming up, we see team spirit coming up when you do a program, when you conduct an event. It can be in any of the club activities that you are involved in. So there is a reason why these are designed for you. So, this is what is aimed so that overall development of the student's personality is achieved through the course of these 3 years. And it should be the foundation for your further learning in life. Now, this is my last slide where I would like to introduce you to the program academic calendar of this semester. So your re-registration you've already done. We are doing the orientation today. As you can see, 17th is the orientation, and your classes will start from the 19th of July, and from the 19th of July, that is Monday, you will have your classes in the first half, and you will have your orientation in the evening session, followed by last teaching day. As you can see here is the 12th of November 2021, and odd semester exams will start from the 20th of November 21, and it will continue till the 17th, after which of course you will be enrolling yourselves for the even semester. So this is all that I had to cover, and I hope this would help you to get prepared for the journey ahead in the 5th semester. That is all I had to say to you all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for explaining us about the concept of Diksha, multidisciplinary and holistic education, intellectual growth. Ma'am has also discussed about various courses being offered in this semester. I'm sure it would have certainly guided our students in the right direction. Thank you, ma'am. Now I would like to welcome our most talented and affable faculty members, Mr. Rohit Yadav and Dr. Soumya Srivastav. The Dramatics Club and the Poetry Club of ASL are being run very efficiently by Mr. Rohit Yadav. Now I request them to come forward and make our students familiar with the innovative learning techniques, ICT tools, which can help them evolve into active learners. Welcome.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. I hope I'm audible.
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. So first, I think Soumya ma'am will start, and then I will continue talking about blended learning and ICT tools. So over to you, Soumya ma'am. Please, you can start.
Sir, sorry to interrupt. I think this screen being shared. I think Manjari ma'am's screen is being shared.
Okay.
Just give 2 minutes. Ma'am, could you please stop sharing from your end? Now you can start. Yes.
Okay, am I audible?
Yes, Soumya ma'am, you are audible. Please go ahead.
So, so how are you, all of you? Semester 5 students? Everybody is there?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. I was there from the very beginning, and I saw that you have been listening to all the eminent speakers, and they all talked about blended learning. So I'll be talking very little about blended learning and how you can make the most of it. But majorly, I will be talking about the importance of pre-reading. What is the role of pre-reading, and how it can help you evolve academically. Sorry. So before I start, I would like to show you a video, uh, and let me just share it. Yes, is my screen visible?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you able to hear? Is it audible?
Uh, the volume is very low, Soumya. If you can please increase the volume.
Yes, ma'am.
Taking this to the extreme, students can consume all of the traditional lecture material at
Now
home.
it's fine.
During class time, they can complete work assignments traditionally given as homework during class, as well as other activities like team-based or project-based learning. This describes the flipped classroom model.
Okay, so I'll just try to begin it with a, and just try to see and note down what all other things which are being talked about in this video.
Instructors often make so far all of the content available outside of class time. Taking this to the extreme, students can consume all of the traditional lecture material at home at their own pace. And during class time, they can complete work assignments traditionally given as homework during class, as well as other activities like team-based or project-based learning. This describes the flipped classroom model because it flips what students do at home and in the classroom. Typically, when a teacher creates a lecture, they have to make an educated guess about the knowledge level of their audience, since they have limited information about what each student knows or remembers. If a lecture is too difficult, then most of the students will be lost. If it's too easy, then most of the students will be bored. So teachers typically end up lecturing to the mythical middle of the class and hoping for the best. By putting their content online, students can move at their own pace. Those who are familiar with the material can go through it quickly, even watching it at increased speed. While others who aren't as familiar with it can pause to take notes, rewatch it, or call up other resources to help them understand the concept being explained. An additional benefit for all students is that they can choose to engage with the material when they're most alert, which satisfies both the early bird and the night owl. And for those students that have disabilities, they can take the breaks that they need without having to worry about missing out or distracting others. Putting work assignments back in the classroom also has a number of benefits from a learning science perspective. A lot of students describe the frustration of feeling like they understand a concept in class, but then being confused when they go home and try to apply it to an assignment. This is also supported by research. We learn best through active work, not passive listening. Doing work assignments during class time means that teachers are available when students need them the most. They're trying to apply their knowledge. Another place where students traditionally struggle is with out-of-class group work, because it can be hard to coordinate an in-person meetup as well as make sure those meetings are constructive. Moving group work into the classroom setting makes the logistics straightforward, and it also allows the instructor to keep an eye on group meetings and to help facilitate them if needed. An important aspect of all blended learning environments is that they're not intended to do away with face time in the classroom. Unlike online classes, where all the material and interactions are online, blended classrooms count on face-to-face interactions between students and teachers. Instead of getting rid of these interactions, blended learning structures are intended to optimize them, moving the teacher from a passive sage on the stage, who delivers didactic lectures to a large audience, to a more active role as a guide on the side, who interacts one-on-one with students to help guide them in ways that might be impractical or impossible with a traditional teaching model. By doing this, blended learning classes move from a teacher-focused learning model to a student-focused learning model. In a traditional classroom, the approach is generally time-based, meaning the whole class goes at the same pace. All students get the same lesson on the same day, and are tested on that material at the same time. And then they all move on to the next topic regardless of their individual exam performance or if they have gaps in their knowledge. Blended classrooms are flexible enough to allow the use of a mastery-based model, which acknowledges that not all students are going to get the material at the same time. Some students might need more time to understand the topic, while at other times those same students will speed ahead. By giving students as much time as they need on the topic and letting them decide when they're ready to be tested, blended classes can help to ensure that students move forward only when they've shown that they can apply what they've learned with confidence. Blended learning, though, like any teaching approach, brings with it some important challenges. Because this approach depends on technical resources, they have to be affordable, reliable, and easy to use for both the students and the teachers. Oftentimes, there's also a learning curve that has to be navigated, especially for those that have never used technology in the classroom. Another challenge is making sure that the materials are being reliably and independently consumed by the students, and they're coming to class prepared. This can be incentivized by closely tying in-class work assignments to the content that's being delivered online. It can often be tracked with learning platforms. Finally, one of the biggest challenges to blended learning is that it really changes the role of the teacher to that of a coach and puts students in the driver's seat of their own learning, teaching them how to think as well as what to learn. This shift is an important one, and it requires buy-in from both the teacher and the student to be successful. When it's done right, though, blended learning can lead to a much more enjoyable and effective learning experience for both parties. All right, so as a quick recap, blended learning combines online resources with in-person instruction. And one type of blended learning is the flipped classroom, where students consume their lecture resources at home and spend class time doing in-class activities. This allows the teacher to change from a passive sage on the stage to a more active guide on the side, facilitating a student-focused learning model.
Okay, am I audible?
Yes, Soumya ma'am, you are audible.
So I'll just. Okay, so what all are the points that you can
Soumya
talk
ma'am,
about?
sorry to interrupt. If you could please lower down the laptop a bit, because your face is not visible, only your forehead is visible. Now it's okay. That's good.
Thank you. Okay, so what all are the things that you got to know after watching the video? Can anybody come up with points? What all are the things that we need to keep in mind when we are using blended learning, or when we are, moving from traditional to a virtual space? There's one very important point that has been talked about in the video. Can anybody tell me? Yes? Anyone? Any one major advantage that you can feel when you are using virtual space to learn? Yes? Anyone? I can see students. Nimisha, Soumya, would you like to respond?
Yes, ma'am. The video was not going well in my phone because of some network issue, I think. But I would like to say, can I add, because I did not see the video properly. May I speak even then?
Yes, Soumya, you can speak. You can speak.
Thank you, ma'am. Ma'am, blended learning is an opportunity for all of us to get the best of both the worlds. Not only because there are some aspects that are left out in either of these opportunities or these systems. So when we combine both these systems, there is an opportunity for us to include the things that we could not in one aspect. So instead of focusing, the basic point would be instead of focusing on the things that we are not able to do, blended learning allows us to have the opportunity to take the best of both the worlds.
Yes,
That's
the one major point that this particular video talked
Soumya ma'am, your voice is not audible.
Uh,
Rohit sir, please look into it.
okay.
again and again. Sorry, am I audible now? I'm being disconnected again and again. Uh, am I audible now?
Yes, ma'am, you're audible. You're audible, but your screen is not visible.
The screen is not visible.
Yes, like it is asked saying reload to display presentation, which
Give me a minute. Am I visible now?
no, you are visible, ma'am, but your screen, like I mean to say, your presentation is not visible. It's showing that reload to display presentation. Something went wrong when loading the presentation.
Now the screen is visible.
Yes, now it is.
Okay. So there are some points which I want to talk about, and I'm also visible.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Yes, ma'am.
Soumya
Please.
ma'am, you are visible. Your screen is also visible. You just keep moving it.
Okay. Now, let's talk about the various aspects of blended learning. Like I told you that in the video also that person talked about that it is very important to switch between the two modes, because when your screen time is very long, your eyes are glued to the screen, you feel fatigued. Okay, but how to extract the most from both the worlds is what is called blended learning. So it helps you, like some of the points I've listed on the screen, they are reflecting. Student interaction, because we have virtual space to interact. So student interaction is one thing. Then we have group discussions also that can happen online. But that one thing that you can say that lack is there in the virtual space, and that is your human touch. We all must have read about COPACT in your CS classes. That paralanguage, that you can say, the haptics, all these things, the COPACT, entire non-verbal communication, we talk about in communication skills, that is somewhere lagging in virtual space when we are having a discussions in virtual space. Then the next thing that you can take help from is the e-library. Okay, you can search, there are ample material available online. You can go to audio and video lectures, and yes, I was talking about that one thing which is there in the video, that is the people who are very quick learners, they can afford to see that same video into two speed.
But people who want to absorb more, who are slow learners, or maybe they want to more emphasize and give more time to one particular aspect when they are learning, they can switch to the normal mode. So this is one advantage. Okay, teacher has to manage when the teacher is presenting in class. She or he has to manage taking care of both the kinds of learners. But when you are learning online, this is one of the biggest advantage. And even I have felt as a learner, I have also felt this helps you to learn quickly. Some of the concepts, for example, you have a good grasp on American literature, or for that matter, literary theory. So you can see that video at a greater pace. Then we have webinars at our disposal. You can attend n number of webinars and see what all are the different cultural and social political aspects that are, so for example, if the webinar is happening outside India and you are invited, obviously you will get to know a lot, you will get a cultural glimpse of that country and what all are the academically, what all are the things that they have taken up, okay, what all kinds of research are going on in their department in their country. So it helps you to move beyond the geographical barrier. So that geographical barrier is no more when you are learning online. Then you have n number of educational blogs which you can search, and some of the blogs I've suggested you also while I was teaching in the last semester. Apart from that, when you talk about virtual classrooms, okay, it helps you to have a better understanding in the sense that you have all the material at your disposal. Okay, so you do not have to keep on taking down the notes. You can see the recorded lecture and you can make your own notes. Okay. Moving on to the next slide, we have some of the characteristics of blended learning. So here, as we are facing this crisis of pandemic, so you have two modes. You can use these two modes and you can switch between the two. So some of the notes, while taking down the note or while writing any paper, I also switch from the pen paper thing to my tablet. Okay, this helps me to procure some of the material online, which I know you are not going to lose your phone that easily, but yeah, there are high chances that if you are taking down notes on bits and pieces of paper, you can lose them. Okay, so this is one of the advantages when you are taking down notes or when you are doing anything online. You have Google Drive to save your things and everything. So technological advancement is helping us in a big way, but yes, there is something which you can say that is lagging, and that is we talked about COPAC. So that human touch is somewhere lagging. Then development of new perspective and development of life skills. These are the two things that you can get when you are actually experiencing the traditional conventional way of learning. Okay, so when when I was doing my post graduation, I also used to imitate my teachers. They were my role models. I used to imitate them. I used to see how they are conducting themselves and everything. Everything cannot be learned. Everything cannot be just given to you and you're just a passive observers. Okay, now this blended learning has helped us to become more active. Active in the sense we are now in the like Manjri ma'am talked about knowledge creation. So we are supposed to respond to the text. That is where reader response theory comes. We are supposed to respond to the text. We are supposed to create our knowledge, and we are supposed to be involved in meaning making process. Okay, so you are supposed to develop new perspective, and that is the sole purpose of literature: to develop new perspective, to develop life skills, and to get an understanding of what and how these social cultural constructs work in the society. Okay, so this particular slide talks about both the things, that is your advantages of blended learning and the disadvantages at the same time. So you should be clever enough to switch between the modes. Then moving on, we have now everything is just a click away. So we have multicultural and multidimensional approach where you can look at the research. So I've also given you, when I was teaching last semester, I told you some of the websites where you can find scholarly articles. Okay, so those articles can be read and you can see how people in different countries are taking if you're working, for example, you are interested in literary theory. So what all of the works are going on in different countries? Okay, so you'll get a glimpse of culture, you'll get the glimpse of the research going on in that country and what all are the scope. So if you're moving ahead in one direction, you should be aware of the scope in that particular area. So diversity obviously has increased because of moving completely on online mode. Then this blended learning is more student centric. Okay, it's more student centric in the sense that now you can move ahead by looking into your, introspecting and seeing what all are the things that you like. If you are interested in one particular thing, that there are n number of possibilities in that area, and the possibilities you can explore online, and there are various platforms also available these days. Okay, so like I told you, student construct knowledge, they are now in the process of creating knowledge, and they are also active participants. Now, continuous assessment is another thing that is happening online. So we all are assessing, like for example, Google Forms. I have conducted several MCQs on Google by creating Google Forms, and there you can see how many MCQs you have done it correctly, so you've marked correctly. So your assessment is there in front of you, and there is complete transparency. Okay, so the continuous assessment and also when we talk about the subjective paper analysis, there are various platforms on which assessment is happening, and the students are able to rectify, they are able to see their periods, they are able to rectify their mistakes. So from traditional, when we are moving to online, everything is possible, and it gives you continuous feedback. So in traditional approach, if you are, if we are having face-to-face interaction, there you cannot, just switch on your intranet or, just ask for feedback anytime. But here, when the correction has happened, you can just see what all are your mistakes and you can rectify, because you are given continuous feedback on whatever you have performed. Okay. Next, talking about the advantages of virtual medium. First and foremost, it is helping you, and the more you become tech savvy, it will help you to adapt with the fast changing market. Now, after this pandemic, which is, I don't know when it is going to subside, but after this, you will see a huge change in the academia and also in all the other, fields. You will see that people will move now because, these things have become very handy now. So it is going to, if you are more skillful, if you are more skilled in dealing with technology, it is going to help you to adapt with the fast changing market. And the more skillful you are, the higher the chances of employability. Okay? We all know that. This particular virtual medium or online medium is very handy. We all know that, and the more you are going to interact with this medium, the more fluent you are going to be in it. Okay, so digital fluency, if it is going to increase, it is going to enhance your skills. And obviously, I've just talked about the geographical barriers. So even if you do not go to do the field work, you can just quickly, search online and see what all other things and what all other research is going on in that particular area. And then you can, obviously, field work, online medium is not a replacement for field work. If you wish, you can definitely go and, conduct your research. But other than that, if you are willing to have a glimpse of something, obviously it is there online. You can enroll in several certification courses and, develop your CV. And this is the right time to do that. Okay, so after your graduation, if you are, if you are going for jobs, what are you going to write? Okay, so if you have some certificates and some certification courses, that is going to help you to develop your CV. Next, and the most important thing is that we cannot avoid the culture that has been created in the times of pandemic, and this is what is called cyber culture. We are supposed to get used to it, and there's no way that we can discard or refrain from this particular medium. We have to adapt, and we have to be a part of this space. Because if you see the print medium, obviously you can flip through the pages and see what all other things are there. But apart from that, the daily update you will get only online. Okay, if you want to be updated all the time, you have to be, you know, very fluent, and you should develop this digital fluency. Next, and which is the most important aspect, which I thought I'll be dealing with all of you today, is the importance of free reading. But before I move on to talk about free reading, I would like to ask if there are any questions from your side. Anyone? Any questions? Yes, semester 5. Am I audible? Can you all hear me? Yes? Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes? Are there any
Yes, ma'am.
questions? Are there any questions?
Uh,
Yes or no?
Musarrat, are you trying to speak?
No, ma'am.
No, you were unmuted, so I thought you were going to ask something.
No, ma'am. Sorry. Maybe by mistake, ma'am.
All right, it's so.
Okay. Yes? Any observation, anything you want to say? Am I audible, semester 5? Say yes or no.
Yes, ma'am, you're audible. Good morning, ma'am. Good afternoon.
Okay, so now the very important, since you have no questions, the very important part of my presentation is the importance of free reading and how to use e-content in order to have a better understanding of the lectures that are aligned in front of you. So first and foremost, it helps you when you pre-read. Okay, so for example, the next, if I say that on 19th I'm going to discuss with you what is American drama and the history of American drama. And if some of the students, and I've uploaded the e-content on it, and if some of the students will come prepared by reading that e-content, don't you think it is going to help them to understand whatever the topics I will be discussing? Obviously, it is going to. Yes, and so the first point is clear that it helps you to learn quickly, rapid learning, and also it gives you a good learning outcome also. So you will be able to identify, okay, so these are the things which were posted in the form of the e-content, and these are the things which were talked about in the lectures. So the learning outcome, obviously, it is going to be more, you can say, more in the sense you will be having more knowledge on it, and you will be able to come up with more good points. And this will eventually enhance your performance. And this is not, I'm just not, talking about pre-reading. I myself used to do this when I was doing my graduation, post-graduation, and even when I used to have discussion with my supervisor. I never used to go, without any sort of a thing in my hand. I always used to come up with certain articles, read it and underline it, and then I used to go and discuss it with my teachers and individually. So pre-reading is a very good habit. If you're inculcating this habit from the very beginning, it will help you in the long run. It helps you to increase your productivity, and the role of the teacher is just to give you some input, it's just to give you an outline structure so that you are able to fill the gap. Okay, and that you will be able to do it when you are more accustomed, you're more, you have done some background reading on it. Because it's not possible, for example, if I'm discussing one drama with you, it's not possible to discuss it line by line. The entire drama cannot be discussed. Okay, the entire novel cannot be discussed. But if you have given a reading to it before coming, or if you have gone through some of the articles which I've posted in the form of e-content, it will help you definitely to have a better understanding when the lecture is given to you, and you will also develop you can say, better critical acumen. Okay, you will be able to analyze what all are the things that I have to identify, and that is where the last point comes, skimming, to identify what all are the things that you need to keep in mind when you're discussing themes and the socio-political and cultural background, and what all are the things that needs to be just meant to read it, okay, at the surface level. So that critical acumen will develop only when you are reading, and then you are coming to the lecture, then you are coming to the class. Okay, and this pre-reading definitely helps you to widen your horizons of your learning and your knowledge, and it also helps you to evolve as a student. Okay, and you will be able to come up with good understanding of the text. Okay, so the PPT talks about the understanding and the use of e-content as a pre-read. So pre-reading is actually very important to develop perspective, to develop your perception of the text should also come into play, because in this particular, in the post-modern world, we all are responding to the text instead of, say, passively consuming it. We are no longer consumers, we are creators. So in order to respond to the text, you should be able to have a proper idea, and in order to develop that idea, you are supposed to come prepared to the class so that you are able to identify with the topics and themes that are being discussed in class. Okay, so pre-reading is very important as far as development, a holistic development as a student, as you can say, as a person, as a scholar. So if you want to pursue masters in English, you should have a habit of reading, and pre-reading is actually very important. There are other aspects also. There's a concept of post-reading also, what all other things that we need to keep in mind after the lecture. But for now, I'm just discussing the importance of pre-reading. Okay, and skimming obviously is very important. It helps you to identify what all are the things that need to be keep in mind, and what all are the things which are just supposed to be read. Okay. Any questions from your side? Anyone? Yes, so that is it from my side then.
Okay.
And
Okay,
I would
thank
like
you, ma'am.
to invite Rohit sir to discuss with the students further on this particular topic. And I'll just stop sharing my screen.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for such an informative presentation. Now, before I initiate, first of all, I want at least 10 students to raise their hand so that I can be assured that I'm talking to human beings and not machines. So, please, I request you all to raise your hand. I can initiate my talk. So just two students, three. I need more number, yes. Srishti, Divyansh, yes. Dipanshu, more. Yashi, Shivani, all right. So that makes me sure at least I'm communicating my ideas, my thoughts to 10 students. Now, all right. And now I will talk about few aspects which were left out or which I have to discuss about this concept. Am I audible? Am I audible clearly, students?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Yes. Okay. So now before starting my talk, I would like to just know from you, how many of you have heard of a term called Industrial Revolution 4.0? Anybody has heard this term, Industrial Revolution 4.0? Anybody is aware about this terminology, Industrial Revolution 4.0? Respond, no or yes?
No, sir.
No, sir.
All right. And Anybody knows about Education 4.0? Education 4.0?
No, sir.
No. All right. So now, what do you think? Why this hybrid mode or blended mode has been brought in? Do you think it's because of pandemic that this kind of education has been brought in academia, or do you think there are another other reasons for it?
Sir, can I speak, sir?
Yes, yes. Please go ahead, please.
Sir, Education 4.2, as far as I have heard, I've been using this as a platform as a teacher, is relating to the blended mode of imparting learning to the children. And it combines online and personalized procedures to, and e-content in any ways that has to reach to the students whom we are dealing with. The modes can be different, like it can be a TV, a radio, or any other platform like WhatsApp groups and all, because we have been using it in government sector. So.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. Now, one thing is that we are going into a phase of Industrial Revolution 4.0. Some believe that we are already in. Some believe that we will be in after this pandemic gets over. Or we are already in. Now, what is Industrial Revolution 4.0? It's about transforming the society. It's about transforming the whole idea, the philosophy of how society evolves. Now, there are four major industrial transformations through which the whole world has gone, and it has impacted every aspect of human life. Now, first revolution which happened was with the invention of steam engine. Now, when steam engine was developed, it was Industrial Revolution 1.0, which actually changed the whole outlook and perspective of people. Then later on, and also transformed the whole economy. Later on, with the industrial revolution in the 19th century or 18th century, it again transformed the whole society. And then with the inventions of factories and the work which was done in the factories with the big machines. Then later on with computers, it was Industrial Revolution 3.0. Now this Industrial Revolution 3 or 4.0 is because of the artificial intelligence and the data science which has come in. And there are a lot of articles which I was reading and which was saying that it can be possible that maybe 50% of the jobs will be wiped out because of this data science and artificial intelligence. So the basic idea behind blended learning with the use of ICT tools, MOOC, SWAM, was to prepare students for the industry, to blend not only the classes, which is the online and the offline mode, that is face to face, and the virtual or use of technology like computer and other technologies, but also to prepare you for industry. What is the demand of this industry? And industry depends on the kind of industry which is being operated in that period, in that frame. So before initiating my talk, I will first of all share a video on what is actually Industrial 4.0, and then I will share my presentation where I will talk about how blended learning and other aspects are being used by Amity University, so that you as an individual can be prepared for industry, for the demand of the industry, so that you can get placed, you can get your good careers, and you can live a happy life. So before sharing my presentation, I will try to share my my one video. Uh, is it visible? The video, class, students, is it visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Introduced to the phrase the fourth industrial revolution, and it's been a hot topic among academics, politicians, and business leaders ever since. But what exactly does it mean? The term Fourth Industrial Revolution was coined by the founder of the World Economic Forum, a former professor named Klaus Schwab. Schwab wrote a book with that title to describe an era marked by a technological revolution that is blurring the lines between the physical, digital, and biological spheres. Let's break that down. Technologies like artificial intelligence, autonomous vehicles, or the Internet of Things are becoming ingrained in our day-to-day lives and even our bodies. Think of voice-activated virtual assistants, Face ID recognition, or healthcare sensors. Schwab first presented his vision of the Fourth Industrial Revolution at the World Economic Forum's annual meeting here in Davos in 2016. But to understand the idea, we need to go much further back in history, to Industrial Revolution number 1. The first Industrial Revolution started in Great Britain around 1760 and spread to Europe and North America through the early 1800s. It was powered by a major invention, the steam engine. The result? New manufacturing processes, the creation of factories, and a booming textiles industry. From the late 1800s, the Second Industrial Revolution was marked by mass production and new industries like steel, oil, and electricity. The light bulb, telephone, and internal combustion engine were a few of the major inventions of this era. The Third Industrial Revolution, sometimes known as the Digital Revolution, occurred in the second half of the 20th century. In just a few decades, we saw the invention of the semiconductor, personal computer, and the internet. So what separates the Fourth Industrial Revolution from the Third? Experts say the main difference is that technology is merging more and more with humans' lives, and that technological change is happening faster than ever. Consider this. It took 75 years for 100 million users to adopt the telephone. Instagram signed up 100 million users in just 2 years, while Pokemon Go caught that amount in 1 month. 3D printing is just one example of fast-paced technology in the Fourth Industrial Revolution. The industry has gone from a business idea to big business, with 3D printer shipments expected to increase from just under 200,000 in 2015 to 2.4 million in 2020. Today, you can have a hip replacement from a 3D printed bone or use a 3D printed bionic arm. Talk about blurring the line between humans and technology, right? This new era of technology is driving a lot of innovation. You can see in this chart the number of patents related to the Fourth Industrial Revolution for things like 3D printing or AI has been climbing up and up since early 2000. Organizations are embracing new technologies to make their businesses more efficient, similar to how they embraced the steam engine during the First Industrial Revolution. But some companies and governments are struggling to keep up with the fast pace of technological change. Research shows innovators, investors, and shareholders benefit the most from innovation. The risk is that the Fourth Industrial Revolution is making inequality, which is already a big issue, even worse. One study found billionaires have driven almost 80% of the 40 main breakthrough innovations over the last 40 years. That's a problem when the richest 1% of households already own nearly half of the world's wealth. Experts warn we are in a winner-takes-all economy, where high-skilled workers are rewarded with high pay and the rest of workers are left out. Studies confirm technologies like AI will eliminate some jobs and create demand for new skills that many workers don't have. Privacy concerns are another issue as the Fourth Industrial Revolution turns every company into a tech company. Industries from food to retail to banking are going digital, and they're collecting a lot more data about their customers along the way. Users are starting to worry that companies know too much about their private digital lives. The World Economic Forum says a majority of leaders don't have confidence their organizations are ready for the changes associated with the Fourth Industrial Revolution. With tech changing fast every day, it's time to catch up.
Rohit sir, you are
Sir, you are not audible.
muted. Please unmute yourself.
So now I think you have got an idea of what Industrial Revolution 4.0 is and how it will have a drastic impact, or it has already made a drastic impact on the industry throughout the globe. Right, students?
Yes, sir.
So now to prepare you for this industry in this era of Industrial Revolution 4.0, National Education Policy has come up with the idea of Education 4.0, and blended teaching and hybrid mode are the part of these, this effort where you are prepared for the industry. Now, since what has to be done? What has to be done is that you will be prepared not only in your own area specific, but you will be also taught about, and you will be also doing other online courses and other fields where you want to make your career. So for example, you're doing BA English honors, but you want to make your career in journalism. So you can always move up to SWAYAM or MOOC or some online courses like Coursera or TED or Ed Education, where you can do some online courses regarding journalism. Or maybe you want to go into creative writing or content writing. So you can do courses along with these your traditional education. Now, I will just share my PPT and I will talk about certain components of blended teaching along with what is ICT and ICT tools. So, all right. Is my slide visible?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay. So now again, so Diksharam, effective teaching learning in blended hybrid mode. So now, what is blended learning? Now since we have already talked about Industrial Revolution 4.0, which is having a great impact on the world, and world order is shifting and changing and transforming. So there's a constant changing world, and development of digital platform has a huge impact on educational institutions. As a result of this, blended learning has evolved. It is a teaching and learning approach that combines face-to-face classroom methods with computer-mediated activities to deliver instructions. So basically what Soumya ma'am has already talked about, it's more about using technology and using computer along with your face-to-face communication with your professors. Now, even this Education 4.0 has transformed the role and task of professors. Now they were information providers in earlier education system, but now they have become more like a coach or a facilitator with whom you can discuss, and this teaching has become more student centric, where students are at the center of the whole classroom activity. Now, what are the benefits of blended learning? It gives you opportunity for collaboration at distance, so you can be sitting here and you can interact or communicate with a professor or somebody in any abroad, in the university in Europe or America, and you can also do some online courses through this blended learning, where you can get expertise all across the globe about a particular subject. So that kind of flexibility is provided through blended learning. Now, it also provides increased flexibility. Technology-enabled learning allows for learning anytime and anywhere. So again, you can be right now, you are sitting at your home and you are being taught or discussed. You're discussing about blended learning. So this is because of this Education 4.0, and blended learning is a very important part of this Education 4.0. Now, it also gives you option of increased interactions. It offers a platform to facilitate greater interactivity between students and teachers. So when we talk about learning management systems, we'll talk about how you can, it's a dynamic web application where you can use to create groups, where you can do group activities, you can submit your assignments, you can get your notes, and even assessments can be done. So it is again a very dynamic component, which is a part of blended learning, which will always help you to understand the subject in a much more better and dynamic way. Now, it also helps you to enhance learning. Additional types of learning activities improve engagement and can help students achieve higher and more meaningful levels of learning. So, and then learning to be virtual citizens. So again, in this era where we are becoming more virtual, we need to accommodate this idea, because now virtual reality is becoming a reality in itself. So we have to understand this and we have to adjust and accept this virtual reality, the transformation which is taking place. Now, very important component of blended learning is ICT. Now, ICT stands for Information and Communication Technology, which has been created to make education better, flexible and qualitative. Now, UNESCO guides international efforts to help countries understand the role of such technology. which can play to accelerate progress towards sustainable development goal. So education before education 4.0 was limited to certain boxes and certain geographical areas. There are many third world countries or many countries which are not able to compete with the first world nation were feeling that they are not getting education or knowledge which they can use to bring progress in their own societies. So now as ICT or blended learning or virtual mode has been a blessing for them because they have now they can utilize this technology to get education from throughout the world. So that is also helping and it's bringing providing knowledge to every corner of this earth. So that is something which UNESCO is looking after, and that is where they have come up with this idea, information and communication technology, which they're creating. UNESCO shares knowledge about the many ways technology can facilitate universal access to education, bridging learning divides, support the development of teachers, enhance the quality and relevance of learning, strengthen inclusion, and improve education administration and governance. So again, this whole ICT has brought a revolution in education where the whole learning divide, which was between the rich and the poor and the third world nations and the first world nations, has has been minimized, or there's an attempt to minimize this. Now, UNESCO has been working to mitigate the impact of education disruption and school closure due to COVID crisis through ICT. So, yes, ICT has been used to impart education in the pandemic era, where it was not, it was not possible for students to go to colleges and schools. So, ICT has played a very important role in that. Now, ICT tools for learning and assessment. So there's OER, Open Educational Resources, which are defined by United Nations as any type of educational material in the public domain or introduced with an open license. OER are learning materials supporting legal and free copying, usage, adaptation, sharing, and Creative Commons provide a set of licenses for anyone to use while releasing any teaching or learning resources as OER. So your portals such as SWAYAM, you must have come across the notes from IGNU or eGyan Pathshala. They all are part of this OER, Open Educational Resources, which are created by governments and organizations so that they can be utilized and used for teaching anywhere, because they are permitted to be used free and can be copied. So now one important component of ICT tools is MOOC. So now MOOC stands for Massive Open Online Course. Now we have already come across this and we have been asking our students uh, to do some online courses, the area specific of in which you want to make your career. So that is available. Like SWAYAM is one portal launched by Government of India. Another is NPTEL, which is launched by Government of India. Then you have Coursera and many more, where you can always do certain courses, which will always help you to enhance your resume, and that will also prepare you for the industry. So if you are doing BA English honors, but you're planning to do your masters in business administration, so you can always opt for doing some courses in marketing or finance or something like that, which can help you to get into industry easily because you already have technical knowledge about the subject or about the field which you're about to join. So similarly, if you want, and now there's so much digital revolution taking place. So PR students are going into PR, public relations after doing BA. They're joining journalism. They're going for MBA. They're going for higher education, academics. So you have to think in which field you have to go, and you have to start working so that you're ready for the industry. And it's not just your one degree of graduation which will help, but along with that, you have also done certain professional courses or certificate courses which will always give an edge to you. Now, SWAYAM is, I already told you, SWAYAM is a program initiated by Government of India and designed to achieve the three cardinal principles of education policy, that national education policy, to access, equity, and quality, so that they give you a quality content, quality lectures, and it is for all. So education, which is unbiased, provided to every citizen of the country, is the basic idea behind SWAM. SWAM stands for Study Webs for Active Learning for Young Aspiring Minds. Is an Indian massive open line course platform and is encouraged by the faculty members here in the department, which you can do to add on your resume along with your BA English degree or MA English degree. The course hosted on SWAM are in 4 quadrants: video lecture, specifically prepared reading material that can be downloaded, printed, self-assessment tests through tests and quizzes, and online discussion forum for clearing the doubts. So this is again a 4 quadrant aspect of teaching, which we also inculcate and use in our teaching methodology. And this is what SWAM also follows. Now, another platform which has been introduced by Amity University so that students can be ready for the industry is Learning Management System. Now, Learning Management System is a software application or web-based technology used to plan, implement, and assess a specific learning process. Our learning management system provides an instructor with a way to create and deliver content, monitor student participation, and assess student performance. A learning management system may also provide students with the ability to use interactive features such as threaded discussions, video conferencings, and discussion forums. So again, I already told you learning management system is a very dynamic web application, which actually is a one solution for all problems, where you can give your practices and exams, you can interact with your instructors, you can look upon your courses, assignments, and you can progress your you can check your progress, and you can also take up the content which is provided. So learning management system, again, it ensures learning anytime, anywhere. It is engaging multimedia lectures, streamline trained processes, make learning sessions simplified and engaging. And it also gives advanced tracking and reporting functions. And yes, it reduces time and cost. So these are basic aspects of learning management system. Now, there's another component which is known as virtual labs, but since we are into literature, this is more to the science students and technology students. So virtual labs is a project initiated by Ministry of Education, Government of India, under the National Mission on Education through Information and Communication Technology. The project aims to provide remote access to laboratories in various disciplines of sciences and engineering for students at all levels, from undergraduate to research. It is to help students in learning basic and advanced concepts through remote experimentation, to share costly equipments and resources which are otherwise available to limited number of users due to constraint on time and geographical distance. So this is again a new concept which has been introduced, which is again a very strong component of national education policy and education 4.0. So this is what is all about blended learning. Now, this is also being done to understand how we can be prepared, because this education 4.0 or industrial revolution 4.0 will have it will transform, or it is transforming the whole concept of making career or getting jobs or getting employed. So that is also very important. Now, what humanity can do also, that is also one question. So again, I don't know, I'm short of time. I will share it someday else. Otherwise, there's a video which I can share the link, where a professor from NTU University talks about how education 4.0 will go parallelly hand in hand with the humanity 4.0. And in that component, BA English honors or courses of humanities play a very important component, because our engagement with technology, our engagement with robotics, our engagement with data science will be the big thing in the coming years, and it will transform the way we live, the way we think, the way we solve issues. And that's why it's important to understand our interaction will be more through robotics or artificial intelligence. So that has to be looked in mind. I don't know whether Archana ma'am, we have time. Otherwise, I can play that 4 minutes video. Otherwise, we can share that video with the students. They can watch it, and then we can have a discussion someday. So.
How long is it, Rohit?
Just a minute, ma'am. I will just let you know. It's a 13-minute video, ma'am.
I think we can share it with the students because
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
We had to proceed for lunch break at 1 o'clock.
Okay, ma'am. All right, ma'am. No problem. So that is all from my side. If any questions, you can always come up.
Rohit sir, please stop sharing. All right. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Rohit sir, and thank you, Soumya ma'am, for guiding our students and how the students have to be prepared for the classes. Pre-reading is really very important for an interactive class and improving teaching learning process. Rohit sir has enlightened us about the fourth industrial revolution. Education 4.0 has become a need of the hour, and all of you have to be industry ready. So thank you. Before we proceed for lunch, I'm sure you would like, no, we are not sharing the video as we are now taking the lunch break. So with this, we come to an end of the morning session. I would like to thank our director, Professor Dr. Kumkum Ray, Professor Dr. Satyat Prakash Tripathi, and our esteemed chief guest, Dr. Anand Prakash Maheshwari, for taking out their precious time for us. I take this opportunity to thank our all-time active faculty members and especially the life of our ASL family, our students. I thank you one and all from the bottom of my heart for your patience and presence throughout the session. Thank you all. Now we can proceed for lunch break and we will be resuming the session at 2:15, which will be continued by Ms. Reeti Singh. Thank you all.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.